Hey, Bill, what happened to Jim? He's dead? Oh, the vaccine must have been working.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. This is your award-winning Give On Nation Media Assassination, episode 1340.
This is No Agenda.
Saving the Earth and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the Zephyr just went by 1 minute late, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
All right, everybody, it's time once again for one of those updates. What do we have on the Zephyr? What is the economic update from the Zephyr?
8 cars without the mail car.
8 cars without the mail car were somewhat stable, I guess. Bitcoin down 54,643.
Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
If you're new to the show.
Is that always funny? I don't know.
I don't know. If you're new to the show, we don't always start that way.
Yeah.
Hey, but there's so much good news and so much to talk about. I'm so happy to report that both you and I have Leo Moon, and the universe right now is in Leo Moon, which means it should be a great time for us.
Leo Moon?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Well, explain.
I don't know what it is. The occult fan who's been around with the show for a long time said, I'd love to do your birth charts because this is great. You guys are on a great track. The vibes are fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I can tell you what the vibes were for the 3 morning shows I watched today in
yes.
fashion.
Please do tell us about the morning shows in your 3x3 report.
And I've decided to give an award to the best of the 3.
Oh, I don't know if I have award sounds.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
We'll worry about that later. I'm just going to tell you.
All right.
Okay, here we go. So the 3 morning shows going on today, I had to go back to NBC twice because I kept didn't write it down. I couldn't remember. And this I notice is the same with all these shows. You can't really remember. It's almost like a daze you're getting when you watch these stupid shows.
Well, I have to remind everybody, Google or search for the Zen TV experiment, and you'll see what television is actually doing to your brain and how you're tuning out.
It's not healthy. Mm-hmm. So the NBC folk had a report on some poor little girl who died at Disney World.
Oh, no.
And gave up her organs to some other little black boy.
Ah, thank goodness. Jeez, that was... Oh, man. And she did that on purpose? She after she died, she had a codicil?
The mom had to go through a tribulation to give up the organs of the little girl, but she did it. But then they cut right to a puff piece about John Travolta dancing with Princess Di once some years ago.
Is a movie coming out and we have to prove he's not gay?
Maybe. And then they said we'll be right back with some Earth Day news and Bill Nye. So
they had a science segment. Nice. All right, NBC. Oh, that's award-winning right there in my book.
Yeah, it's a very celebrity-oriented, except for the little girl. ABC, meanwhile, had a report on safety at the Oscars. And how these celebrities are going to be, how they're going to be safe, so we don't have to worry about them because there's not going to be anybody there. So,
well, I thought there was going to be 170, and they're going to rotate them out, and they're going to ask people to wear their masks during the commercial breaks.
Don't worry. It's going to be safe for the celebrities.
Well, it has to be safe for the celebrities because if they die, no one will see it because no one is watching these shows anymore.
I agree. But then they cut from that to a special on spanking because some Hispanic actress whose name I can't remember, didn't write down and never heard of, had said something about spanking on her Insta.
Oh, noes.
And so now everybody's all aflutter about spanking, so they brought a bunch of experts in to tell this actress that she's wrong. Spanking her kid.
She's bad, yeah. Now
then CBS, which gets the award of the day, did a very long piece on wind power off the eastern coast and how beneficial it would be to set up these wind turbines along the east coast, and how everybody else, and they compared what they're doing in Europe to China to us. We suck at offshore wind power. We only have like 40 watts or something.
Yeah, we need more ugly things in the ocean.
Yeah, we're going to put them up and down the East Coast because Biden, they go on, Biden is such a great president. He foresaw all this, and he's going to demand that we put all these wind things up. Nobody in the report, though, by the way, very educational report. I give them credit for that. But they never mention what happens if a hurricane hits one of these farms.
First of all, congratulations on their 3x3 award. That's fantastic. All you have to do is look at the coast of the United Kingdom. If you recall, when I lived there, they were putting these windmills up, and they were never on. I was flying over them all the time. Remember, I was flying to the mainland. They were never turning. Most of them are broken. They corrode really quickly. There's lots of documentaries about what an incredible failure these offshore windmills are, and they're a scourge. I mean, it's just this big sea of just windmills. It's not nice to look at. It's not pretty.
Well, they showed the maps of all these windmills off all these shores, and they emphasized how great they are off of England's coast.
Yeah, well, they're not.
So you just kind of condemn the report.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. But they still get the award for, at least it was somewhat.
No, I didn't condemn your report. I condemned their report. No,
I would. That's what I said. You condemn their report.
Yeah. Your report is fantastic.
They didn't discuss any of the downsides. They didn't discuss the hurricanes. They didn't discuss these bogus ones off the coast of England you kept saying. Mm-hmm. But it was still a good report. I enjoyed it.
This kind of stuff. If people are watching this in the morning, what are they eating? Like bubble gum on top of their cereal? I mean, you can't be healthy if you're
bubble gum cereal.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be in your right mind.
Yeah, you're right. It sounds like you're chewing bubble gum and then twirling your beads.
Yeah, twirling your beads. Well, it is Earth Day, and we typically miss Earth Day. I'm not sure how that happens. It does fall on show days regularly. So today is the big day. And this nonsense has been going on for 20 years that we've been
21.
making. Is it 21 years? Well, let's go back 20 years ago. And I can't even believe South Park was on the air 20 years ago. But it's probably been on the air longer. And this is what South Park was saying about Earth Day 20 years ago.
All right, children, let's settle down. As you know, this coming Friday is Earth Day. And I'm pleased to announce that the National Earth Day organization has chosen South Park as its location for the Earth Day Brainwashing Festival. The heads of the Earth Day Brainwashing organization are here to tell you all about it.
Hello, children. I know you're all very excited about having the Earth Day Brainwashing Festival put on in your town.
You care very much about the Earth, don't you?
Yes.
And 20 years ago, already the message was in and being driven home.
Excuse me? My daddy is a geologist, and he says there actually isn't any concrete evidence of global warming.
That's not true. Global warming is going to kill us all. The Republicans are responsible.
Thank you.
20 years ago. Oh, yeah.
No, it's true. Republicans are ruining the Earth.
Republicans are ruining the Earth.
Those guys knew it, man. They knew what was going on.
Yep.
I got an NBC report regarding Earth Day, or I would say it's more a part of a special because we have to spend some time on Earth Day. And when we spend time on Earth Day, we have to bring out the guy who reads the weather, Al Roker, the biggest dick in New York show business. I've worked with him. Very arrogant. Will steal lines from you. Will step in front of you. You know those kinds of people in show business who do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always very successful, too.
They're in regular life, too, just to remind you.
Oh, yeah. And these people are very successful, but wow, what a dick. So Al Roker gave us a little bit of info about what the FAB Biden Build Back Biden Better administration is doing to combat climate change.
Climate change is reshaping the country's landscape and coastlines. Science is telling us that time for action is quickly running out. The man tasked with combating this emergency and carrying out President Biden's ambitious climate agenda is Michael Regan, the new Environmental Protection Agency administrator.
How urgent is our position as far as our climate's concerned?
We're facing a climate crisis, no doubt. And if we rally...
violation. I guess he didn't get the memo. It's supposed to be climate emergency, not climate crisis. Tisk, tisk.
We're facing a climate crisis, no doubt. And if we rally the world, it's not too late.
All eyes are on the administration ahead of this week's Earth Day.
Why is he talking like he's on PBS?
Well, because it's a very serious topic, and Al Roker only gets to do a special once a year around Earth Day, and he likes to show off his prowess for voiceovers. So maybe the network will use him more often.
Announced the nation's new commitment to cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
I think that the president is going to announce a really ambitious number.
Reductions of 50% or more are possible, nearly doubling President Obama's pledge in 2015.
Reductions of 50% or more. Okay.
And there's ground to make up, where the past 4 years of environmental deregulation and inaction has left its mark. The EPA is also part of the president's $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Money budgeted for climate-related projects in the billions. Regan confirming his agency is in talks with U.S. automakers about transitioning traditional fuel-burning cars off the road.
How are you going to nudge those combustion engine vehicles off the road when they're lasting 10, 12, 15 years?
We're having those conversations right as we speak. It's our job to be sure that we set the rules of the road so that they have the right amount of pressure to move and get there as quickly as possible.
So that was interesting. Cars last 10, 15 years. How are you going to get those newer cars off the road? Oh, with the ambitious plan, of course, and the billions and billions of dollars.
Do you remember that period where Obama set up some turn your junk car in? And
oh, yeah, the clunkers for junk. No, clunkers.
Junkers for progress. And so people would just find old wrecked cars and drag them in, and you get some $1,500 or $2,000 credit or something.
That's
like that.
right. And and there were no more junkers for sale. I remember that was a crisis. The people couldn't buy secondhand cars. Gosh, what's that?
Secondhand junkers?
That must have been right after. Was that after the financial crisis? Was that one of the?
I think it was around 2009, 10, maybe.
Yeah. Cash for clunkers. I'd forgotten all about
Cash for clunkers. That's what it was.
I'd forgotten all about that. Holy crap. What a good one that was.
That was a classic.
I mean, all it did was, and then they have the audacity to say, well, we saved the American auto industry. Yeah, with taxpayer money for buying junk. We literally threw that money away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there was plenty of $200-$300 cars sold for like $1,500, whatever the going price was. It was a scam.
Wow.
It was a feel-good scam. That was the idea.
So I was, I'd hoped to show off a little bit of my theremin skills. As I've been, yes. You already heard them during the pre-stream, so yes, I know.
You could show them off in the second half of the show because I understand you have some pretty good.
Oh yeah, I do have but what is not possible is I can't have the microphone, talk, and accompany myself on the theremin at the same time, because the theremin, turns out, interacts with a lot of different things, including microphones and movement, and but the reason is perhaps more exciting, as I was saving podcasting. Holy crap! Did you see what happened? In the past 36 hours?
What?
So Apple announced this new podcast monetization system.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah. And typical, they launch something and then people go and sign up and then things don't work. But things don't work is an understatement. The minute you say, oh, yeah, I want to do this, and you click on your feed, you say, I want to make my feed accessible with monetization. You click that box. Immediately, you disappear from the Apple app and from every other podcast app out there. There's some horrible bug that just, of course, you know how people are. Oh, this is a new toy, shiny from Apple. Click, boom, gone. So people are flipping out.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they're flipping out. But something even worse happened. As it turns out, with this new feature,
can I guess what's worse?
Well, it's not worse for independents, but it's not a surprise. But yeah, guess.
Purple iPhone.
Yeah. I noticed that when Tim Cook talks, I don't know if you saw his little presentation, he keeps putting his hands in a praying position, and he a little off to the side, and we at Apple, we really hope, and he puts his hands together like he's praying all the time.
He is.
It's very, he is praying. You're right. He is praying. All right. No, but here's what happened. So with this new system, when you opt into it, your entry in the Apple Index, the Apple database of all podcasts, changes. And it changes in a manner that external applications, podcast apps that want to, that need to look up your show can no longer find your RSS feed and other vital information. So in fact, this happened to the developer of Overcast, Marco Arment, which is probably the biggest independent app out there. And he's always been connected to the, he gets all his information from the Apple Index. And this change happened. His own show doesn't even show up in his own app. And so,
wow,
yeah,
that's irony.
Yeah. So now everyone's jumping over to podcastindex.org, where we didn't expect it to happen this way, but this is exactly what we thought would happen. Is one day Apple's going to wake up and say, fuck those guys, I'm going to turn it off. And I just wanted to explain what I think happened. And I think you can back this up with your extensive knowledge of Silicon Valley. Apple, this is not really a customer organization. Yeah, they talk about their customers and our customers and our customers. But if you have a problem, it's go to the Genius Bar. And that's what's going to happen with this podcast problem. Hey, man, my podcast is not available. Oh, make an appointment with the Genius Bar. Watch. That's how stupid this is. But those are customers, and you have to pay for this system. And so Apple communicates with them. And I got an email. Hey, podcaster, we're going to tell you about this new stuff. And it's probably going on right now. They just started, actually. So that's the Apple customer. Who is not a customer of Apple is these app developers. They don't pay Apple to use their API. It was just an accident that it was available. And so within Apple, when these changes occurred, there was no one representing app developers who were sucking off this index. And so they weren't considered, and it just got turned off overnight. It's a complete mess, and they're not going to try and fix that. So with some from the future foresight, this podcastindex.org turns out to be a lifesaver. I mean, we've like big shows are just gone, not available on any app anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you lucked out.
What do you mean lucked out?
You got the index there for people to
yeah. I mean,
fall back on.
It's not like
anyone's good news.
Not like anyone's paying us for this. I'm just saying, podcasting lucked out. That's what happened.
Well, they're not paying you, but eventually you're going to monetize this thing and screw them, just like Apple did.
Exit strategy. Well, since you just exposed my exit strategy, I'm cutting you out of the deal, Dvorak. Horrible man.
So
yeah, so
this again, what you asked about, the Silicon Valley methodologies, and Apple's, it was threatened by all these articles written about Spotify, a lot of them planted, a lot of them native ads, and my favorite one, which I was going to post it on Mastodon, was how Spotify is changing the landscape of podcasting, and things will never be the same. And it was on and on and on by some guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm looking at this. This is bull crap, this article. But the problem in Silicon Valley is that they all eat from the same trough. Mm-hmm. And it's a groupthink mentality down there. And if this kind of thing catches hold, this idea that Spotify is changing things, Apple would respond to it. And that's what they did. They out of fear-based decision making is very common in Silicon Valley.
And here's something that I kind of knew but really learned more about. The typical podcaster who is with any number of independent hosts, such as Blueberry, Libsyn, Buzzsprout, Podbean. No, Podbean is a little different, but because Apple is now also offering hosting of your entire show, all your files. You upload raw WAV files and they compress it, which any audio guy like I would never do. Of course, they also compress in some DRM, but they're hosting. And in talking to almost every single hosting company there is, it turns out that what they do most is education. People have no clue what they're doing. They have teams 24/7. All they do is just, okay, calm down. Did you click this? Unplug it. Stand on one foot. And because that's what people need. I mean, they're very passionate about this shit. And if it doesn't work, they get very nervous and confused. Apple can't handle that. No. And by the way,
not, like you said right at the beginning, the theme of this whole little presentation is that they're not customer oriented.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for calling, Apple. I could have told you all of this. Idiots, man. Idiots. Anyway, go podcasting. Independent
by
to
the way,
max.
I will say this right off the bat, that the idea of them hosting, dumb.
Of course, you recognize this. You know what's happening. Phew, man. Keeper and I went House hunting yesterday.
Out in the woods, out in the West Country, out in
Hill
the
Country. Hill Country. Yep. The first thing you notice, you don't have to drive more than half an hour outside of Austin. No masks. Everybody's walking around. It's all groovy. There's signs here, and handwritten sign. We're a mask optional facility. We had dinner. No masks. It was so nice to be served by someone whose face I could see. And you notice that. You're like, wow, I look at all these faces.
Yes, whoo.
Yeah. Too bad.
Well, we have nothing like that in any part of California that I know of, although I have to say I have not visited the Central Valley lately.
It is.
Which would be hill country for us.
It's incredible how this is so concentrated. In fact, I got a note from... I remember our producer, Sonny, who was doing the classic driving around the USA, like Route 66 kind of trip.
No, one of those trips.
And Sonny says, just checking in a third of the way on my trip. I met with Dame Jennifer and some of the Low Country bunch in Charleston, blah, blah, blah. So, different meetups. It's very interesting to see how different states in the South and East are handling the masking. So here's a boots on the ground from someone who's comparing it in real time. Like, this is something that typically a journalist might do. Oh my God. It's been interesting to see how different states in the South and East are handling the masking. In New Orleans, pretty much no one was wearing one or cared. While in North Carolina, they were far more rigid. At least the few places I went to seemed to be. Tennessee lifted the mask mandate and occupancy limitations the day I left, and I was only asked to put on a mask at one store in Gatlinburg. Whereas while I was in Williamsport, Maryland, I went out to karaoke and ended up at this smaller dive bar that was packed to the gills without a mask in sight. But New York City, a whole different kind of animal. Everyone was wearing a mask everywhere. I respect businesses that choose to enforce mask wearing, but I refuse to wear one walking outside. And let me tell you, I got plenty of different kinds of looks as I was wandering around. Some were very friendly, like the protesters in Central Park, and some were more critical looking. I was never accosted by anyone, but there were lots of folks, particularly in Times Square, that were giving me the, what the hell's wrong with you look. I was pleasantly surprised with all the dog walking I saw that no pooch was masked up. Yeah. Wait for it. And then
I got a report from somebody who went to Oklahoma, and the whole state is that way. They didn't wear masks and didn't care.
Yeah, it was just so interesting that in Texas, that it's right in Austin where wear your mask, and and masks are down below the noses, and it's complete virtue signaling. No one is worried about this. No one. Just before I move on about the home buying, because what's happening is that it's out of control. I mean, we're set to make, I don't know, like some insane 40% profit on our home if we sell it. It's just crazy. And so I mentioned to you that this was likely banks that were buying this and screwing millennials out of any opportunity to get on the property ladder. It turns out it's even worse. As one of our producers, Anonymous, jumps in. He says, I have standing in this area. I've had a front row seat since this shift began in the industry really about 7 years ago. There are institutions buying up a huge amount of the inventory, but it's not the banks per se. Goldman, JP Morgan, etc. may be part of the financing or providing lines of credit for these companies, but they are not buying anything themselves. The buyers are called single-family rental REITs. So that's FFR. Do you call them REITs or just REIT? What do you call those? The Real Estate Investment Trust?
REITs.
REITs is used loosely as it is a specific real estate investment vehicle, and some of these buyers are just private equity funds that would not technically qualify as a REIT. These funds are purchasing the properties to rent them out and will only sell a small handful of underperforming assets, but otherwise plan to hold them indefinitely. Several have also gotten into the build-to-rent space, where they are either building new construction on individual lots, which will then be a rental, or in some cases, they are building entire rental neighborhoods. Some of the larger institutions are, this is for DH Unplugged, I should say, you got this, Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent, Tricon Residential, Main Street Renewal, oh, how sick, Progress Residential, First Key Homes, which is owned by Cerberus Capital Management. We know Cerberus, run by Dan Quayle, one of the biggest companies in the world. For a boob. And most operate in Phoenix, Tampa, Atlanta, South Florida, Dallas, Houston, Denver, Vegas, Austin, Charlotte, Raleigh, Orlando, Nashville, and others. And this is, I feel very, very bad because this is exactly what the World Economic Forum has predicted. You're not going to own anything, slave. Not because you don't want to, because you can't. And people are talking about prices doubling in the next year. Doubling. What is going on? What is going on?
Well, these things blow up, of course, because these ideas aren't perpetual.
Right. But that'll cause a huge crash if that happens, won't it?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to, maybe you should just sit tight and make even more money when you sell the house if you can. But then again, there's a collapse.
That's what I'm saying. Eventually, there's got to be a collapse. Who knew that my exit strategy would be the house?
Most people's exit strategy is the house.
Yeah.
That's why it's a shame that the millennials haven't been able to get in on this.
Yeah, the property ladder is important.
Yeah, and if you're locked out of it by these creeps, I think it's time to maybe start burning some places.
How do you mean that?
I didn't say that. I'm sorry I said anything.
Okay. Well, places are going to burn, no doubt. Now, I think what's happening around here is, because I see this as opportunity zone. I see new stuff going up, which will be affordable housing. I think they're going to torch the old stuff. I mean, you can't get rid of it, so might as well. Maybe start a little Black Lives Matter riot here in the Opportunity Zone 33.
Could happen.
Get something going. Because, if you light a fire during a protest, it's not,
okay.
Oh, yeah. Here's proof from CNN.
They moved in from two different directions. Some of the protesters had started a small campfire to stay warm in the middle of the street, and shortly after that...
Sure, CNN. The protesters in Minneapolis started a small fire just to keep warm in the middle of the street. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. That's where you typically do it. Jeez. Yeah, so the United States has been just inundated with this trials, and just every other second there's a black person who's been killed by a white cop, and it's just trauma here, trauma everywhere. Which it's just traumatizing what they're doing here. It's so not okay.
Well, I would say I would just to show you how everyone's trying to get in on the act regarding the trial. Mm-hmm. I think we got the guy who would know the most about this sort of thing.
About a trial?
About trials, about everything. Mm-hmm. He's pretty much the most worldly guy, and he comes on, he does it for free. Oh. He gives us advice for free on Twitter. Uh-huh. And this is OJ.
You gotta love America.
Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly. Well, today we can't get away from this Derek Chauvin case, and hopefully we'll get a verdict soon. When I first saw it, my first reaction, as I said, is I thought it was a classic case of depraved indifference. I thought it was unnecessary force, and no matter which side you're on, I think everybody would pretty much have to agree that if those deputies and if Chauvin would have gotten off of George Floyd, there was no chance George Floyd was going to get up and try to run. There was no chance that he was going to get up and try to attack them handcuffed. It didn't seem to be his personality.
Did OJ miss the part where they couldn't get him into the cop car? That's why he was on the ground in the first place?
He actually mentions that.
It just seemed that the force was totally unnecessary. If they seemed that the only problem was his little problem with claustrophobia, I guess, and the smallness of the back seat of that car, which had to be pretty tough for a guy his size to get into. Should have brought a paddy wagon. As far as Representative Maxine Waters is concerned, I understood what she was saying. It was a call to arms, not to necessarily physical arms, but a cause to come out and work and vote. But she's got to understand her words matter, and she's got to be a lot clearer in how she says them, because you can't be critical of the other side during the insurrection when they were saying, get out and fight, you got to fight. And criticize what they were saying when they claimed later on that they meant pretty much what Maxine Waters meant. So you would think these politicians could communicate a lot better than evidently they've been doing.
Man, only in America. Only in America can you do something like this. That's Twitter should ban that. That's just dirty.
I'm surprised they don't ban it, but I personally find it refreshing that we can hear from OJ about this situation. It's just
it's refreshing, I say.
He's worldly, this guy.
It's refreshing.
It's refreshing.
For those who don't know the history of Auntie Maxine, this has been circling around. She's no stranger to speaking out when it comes to riots, as we go back to the 1992 riots in Los Angeles.
As I stand here, 9 people are dead. My last count this morning, before I tried to get some sleep, was over 50-something fires raging all over Los Angeles. The fires started in my district, and one of the largest was right around the corner from my house. There are scores of injuries and still anger and frustration, and people who plan on staying on the streets and expressing their outrage and anger in any way they deem necessary. There are those who would like for me and others and all of us to tell people to go inside, to be peaceful.
Yes, good idea.
They have to accept the verdict. I accept the responsibility of asking people not to endanger their lives. I am not asking people not to be angry. I am angry, and I have a right to that anger, and the people out there have a right to that anger. We don't want anybody killed. None of us believe in violence.
However,
but there's some angry people in America, and young black males in my district are feeling at this moment, if they could not get a conviction with the Rodney King video available to the jurors, that there can be no justice in America.
No, it's pretty much the same program.
Oh, yeah, that's what she does.
There's a term that's popping up, and it came to my attention, but I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until I got a clip. LeBron James, I'm sure everybody knows, he tweeted out a picture of the police officer who shot the 16-year-old, was trying to kill another teenager.
Right.
And he said, "You're next, hashtag accountability." And this accountability, this is a key new phrase. It's a trigger. There's something going on with it. Witness Sandy Ocasio-Cortez.
So no, this verdict is not justice. Frankly, I don't even think we call it full accountability.
What is that? What do you think that's going to be about? It's accountability. So it's not justice that the guy was convicted on all 3 counts. We need accountability.
This is somehow connected to the term equity.
Yeah. I just don't quite understand.
I don't either.
Accountability, you can't even use accounting because math is racist. I'm confused about that.
Yes, math is racist. I don't know.
So you heard Maxine Waters abusing the black man, as always, for her own personal goals. That's what's happening now, rampant. And I just got to say, I don't like calling out groups of people just by saying, their political affiliation, but this is truly liberals and Democrats who are just fucking insane. Nancy Pelosi just abused this whole situation in the most surprisingly disgusting way.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. Because of you and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice. Unless we can change the law, this will be an episode. We change the law, we're going down a different path altogether.
Thank you, George Floyd.
I'm sure Floyd would take issue with this.
Yeah, the good news is that these people, Nancy Pelosi, they'll be dead within 10 years. Just that's all I hold on to. Go away.
You don't know that.
Nah. No, I don't.
Somebody just had their 95th birthday, and they're still a ruler.
Who's that?
Queen.
Yeah. Well, I said, let's say some of them. This has got to be my favorite. This is Sunny Hostin from The View. And her statement made the news.
And The View co-host Sunny Hostin getting emotional when talking about the verdict. A rare instance of a police officer convicted of murder.
I am the mother of an 18-year-old boy who is now in South Africa. And I feel that he is safer in South Africa than he is in his own country. I am so relieved.
Isn't there incredible racism against white people in South Africa? Isn't that why her black child is safer there?
Yeah, it could be. That could be one thing. By the way, did they say in that report, did the woman throw in the adjective rare?
Oh, let me see.
And The View co-host Sunny Hostin getting emotional when talking about the verdict. A rare instance of a police officer convicted of murder.
Oh, a rare instance. Holy crap. Good catch. That's unreal.
They had to throw that in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, if we're going to stay on this track for a while, I do have a series of clips.
Oh.
But these aren't from these idiot celebrities that nobody cares about.
Okay.
These are the public C-SPAN callers.
Oh, the return of C-SPAN callers. Always a joy. Republican line. Go ahead.
Well, in this case, they did it regionally.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, I would say.
Smart. Okay.
So I have a few of these. Let's see. I think the last one I wanted, John. I have the best, the last, and then we have a couple of other ones. Now, this one here, this woman, Courtney, she's from Texas, and she's from, I forgot which town they mentioned it. And she sounds to me, she's interesting. And this is long. This goes on forever. But let's start with that. Let's go with C-SPAN calling. This is Courtney in Texas.
Courtney's Arlington, Texas. When you heard
Dallas
the verdict,
area.
all three counts, what did you think, Courtney?
I honestly thought that it was surprising. You usually don't see the opposite race get, you don't usually see the opposite race get victimized or even get, get the verdict of being guilty for a crime or just for killing George Floyd. Like, you usually see manslaughter, or you'll see something as if, like, they would get...
Okay, stop it. Before we continue with Courtney, I would like to remind people of this particular episode in American history, because as I listened to Courtney, I kept thinking of this. Miss Teen, South Carolina.
Wait, do you have the clip? Yes, you do.
Yes, Ms. Teen, South Carolina.
Oh, groovy.
Polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Correct.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
Only the No Agenda Show can connect the Miss Teen USA with C-SPAN callers. It's
now the funny thing, I didn't realize I haven't seen that clip. We had the clip of that Miss Sucker, but I didn't notice this before because I took that from another video. That was Mario Lopez that was standing next to her holding the mic.
Pre-cancellation.
Well, Mario was never canceled. It was Billy Budd.
I thought Mario also ran into trouble.
No, Mario's still running. He's still working. I see him. But he's got this shit-eating grin on his face that is just like, with this woman, he just goes into this, I don't know what I can do with my face because this is going to be bad. Anyway. Back to this woman from Arlington, Texas. Let's go back to her.
Okay.
Crime, or just for killing George Floyd. Like, you usually see manslaughter, or you'll see something as if, like, they would get second degree count or some sort, but you never really see the opposite race get convicted. And I'm not trying to make it a race thing because life is hard for everybody. Although when I did see that he was, convicted of all three counts, yes, it was a simple slight of, yes, thank God, somebody's finally seeing the light. But it was also a slight of like, okay, yes, he's convicted finally, and yes, he killed this man. However, it took this long. Why did it take this long?
So, Courtney, what happens next moving forward in your mind?
In my mind, I'm just like, I've had a friend that was killed by an opposite race, that was dragged, and that man got manslaughter versus murder. So for me, in my mind, I'm just like, okay, finally he got, murder, the count of murder, but at the same time, why did it take this long? If it was the other race, it would have been done, dealt with, and not even thought about twice. There's a lot of people in the prison system that are Black, African American, and I'm sure other races that have been wrongfully convicted. No, I can't prove it because I don't work in the law enforcement, but I'm pretty sure with simple things, if people are killing innocent people, I'm sure they're convicting innocent people as well.
What is concerning here is, why is this person watching C-SPAN? It doesn't fit for me.
I know it doesn't. The whole thing is crazy. But she, you should also note that she's a Black girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks like it's because people always say, well, there's the white girls talking like black girls, but this is a Black girl. It kind of sounds like a Valley girl. So I found that interesting. But let's listen to the rest of her. This is the only long clip I have, so I apologize in advance.
What happened very quickly in your case? Because I want to move on to other callers, but I'm curious.
In my case, the guy, he got manslaughter. That was it.
But what happened to your friend?
My friend is dead. He is deceased. He's no longer living. He's been killed since high school. He didn't even get to graduate high school because that kid, he killed him. He drug him he had him on a skateboard, and he tied his legs on the skateboard to the back of his trunk and drove him down the highway. Like, Whoa. He killed him, literally. And they charged him with manslaughter. So, rest in peace, Quincy. And I understand everything that George Floyd is going through and their family and everything. So it's very hard. Even to see that man get convicted and know that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, it's still not enough. Like, it's not enough. And I don't know what will make it enough because I'm not in their shoes, but I am an African-American woman raising an African-American man, a boy. And, I have to go through different struggles and tribulations every day to teach him different ways to be a person, to make sure that he's looked at this way. And because I am a single parent, I have to make sure, okay, I have to give you enough love for both of us.
Courtney, thanks.
To make sure that you're not following a slack to be criticized as a African-American male that's going to be in trouble.
What? All right, couple things about her. One, sounds like some dumb kids were trying to surf behind a car on a skateboard, but I don't know enough details about it. Most importantly, Mario Lopez did get canceled from Extra for remarks about transgender children, but then was hired later by Access Hollywood.
Oh, that's interesting because I see him on TV, but I didn't realize he switched shows.
Yeah, he's doing the same stuff.
See Mario Lopez.
Show. Yeah.
Mario Lopez is probably and I sound like I'm going to act as the critic here, because I don't believe these shows are positive for America, but I think Mario Lopez is the greatest host of any of those shows in the history of those shows. He has an incredibly pleasant look. He's multi-culti, who knows? And he is very amenable. He's seems like a very nice guy. I'm always impressed with his skills.
Well, that's why he was able to bounce back from canceled land. And he's brown.
Yeah,
he's brown
back fast.
And he's brown, so he has an edge.
He has an edge. There's no doubt about that. But he's got those huge dimples. You got
dimples like that. You're good to go.
You're gold.
Do we know TV or what?
We're the best. So, continuing on, let's go on. Before we get to the best ones, I'm going to go with. Let's go with this one. This is Pam, and this is broken into 3 short clips. But I'm going to start with this one. This is Pam in Oregon, and I got ONW. What WTF? This is a short 8-second clip because you have to stop these clips to make a comment.
Pamela in Eugene, Oregon. Good evening.
Hello, I'm so happy to be on. I've tried for months to get on. I was supposed to get on today.
Oh, pre-planned. That's why. Huh.
I had to stop the clip right there because of that. It's a WTF. What do you mean you would promise to get on today? How does that work?
The screening calls.
Please explain.
Yeah, the screening calls and the setting. That's how you get this girl from Arlington on this show. They're not C-SPAN viewers just like you. No, they're shills who have been pre-screened and are brought. I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with pre-screening calls. That's how you do it in media. But
yeah, because you want to keep things moving.
But at least have them be your actual viewers. Wow, good catch. Douchebags.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
C-SPAN is fake. Who knew?
Who knew? C-SPAN, you disappoint. Yes. All right, let's go with it. She's going to continue now with her. She's like a hippy-dippy old lady. Berkeley woman, if ever there was.
And I'm telling you that this is a victory for everyone. We have got to have the police be accountable.
So,
there it is.
Based on what you just said, and you answered part of it, is this a pivot point in terms of race relations and the issue of police brutality in our country?
Do I think it is?
Yes. Is it a pivot point?
Yes, I think that there is a definite problem with race relations in the police in our country together. But I'm just here to say that it's also across the board because I was brutalized, and that was not just once. I've had it happen twice. Once in California years ago, and if I hadn't had a good public defender then, I don't know what would have happened. It's too much to go into, but let me just tell you that I learned that it doesn't really matter if the police are not held accountable. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I really didn't think that he was going to get off from this. I really thought that Mr. Chauvin was going to be exonerated because there's issues here with the police. When they talk about reform, it's not about defunding not to have money and not to have police. It's about saying, hey, let's do something about when things are done wrong. Let's find another way. Can we wound somebody rather than shoot them through the chest?
At least she did accountable twice, so she's all in.
She threw that in. I have to agree. Let's move in. Skip her third part. She rambles too much for my taste.
Okay.
In retrospect, let's go to Paul in Austin. Here's your buddy, a buddy for yours.
Paul in Austin. Come on in, Paul.
He's from Austin, Texas. Good evening.
Hello. I think this hillbilly from Tennessee is the problem in this whole country. She's saying this guy didn't get a fair trial. He got a fair trial. He didn't give Mr. Floyd a fair chance. He just stepped in the guy's neck and killed him because he thought he could get away with it. You had another caller talking about how the police pull you over and this and that. He's never had a cop pull you over in the middle of the night for not having an inspection sticker, but it's in your glove box, pull you out the car and kick your legs apart like you just robbed a bank or something.
Did that happen to you, Paul?
Complete nonsense.
Did that happen to you?
Yes. Okay, and as I do not appreciate it, in Austin, Texas, okay, and you got these people mouthing off about how respect the police. They'll get respect when they treat people all the same, okay. And Chauvin thought he could get away with it because it was just some black dude. He could step on his neck, looking in the camera, shaking his mace. I hope he's scared to death, and I hope he gets brutalized every single day he's in his cage. And that's about all I got to say. Have a good evening.
What do you say at the end?
I hope he gets brutalized when he's in his cage.
Oh, well, there's Austin, Texas for you, everybody. And it's interesting that they don't do Republican or Democrat line, but they're doing by region. I see a lot of Texas. Are they trying to make a point here? Like, even Texans think it's ridiculous.
Well, the last call is going to be another call from Texas, but we're not going to get there yet. We got two more to do.
All right.
Let's do... This one's C-SPAN Coast. This is the Illinois call. It's Chick call, it says. C-H-A-E.
Let's go to Charlie in Decatur, Illinois. Good evening.
Charlie.
Good evening. First of all, it's a shame that Mr. Floyd lost his life. But the simplest fact of all of it is I've been pulled over several times by police. If you do what they say, respect them, they're not going to cause you no harm. They're out there to do their job. I've been pulled over a total of 6 times for speeding, different things. I was wild and young. But whenever I got pulled over, I listened. That's all anyone has to do. And like I said, I'm sorry he lost his life, but the police are not racist. And we've got white people being shot by black. We've got police officers being shot by whites and blacks and Mexicans and everything. But we're not racist.
Charlie.
They're out there doing their job.
And thank you for the call from Decatur, Illinois. This is from former President Barack Obama. He issued a statement along with his wife, Michelle Obama. It includes the following quote: "Today, a jury in Minneapolis did the right thing. For almost a year, George Floyd's death under the knee of a police officer had reverberated around the world, inspiring murals and marches, sparking conversation in living rooms and new legislation. But a more basic question has always remained: would justice be done?"
Wow. Just cut him off to throw that in. I want to say something about Austin, actually. Murder rate is up 50% since they defunded the police by $149 million. And we had a triple homicide just earlier this week. A cop shot and killed his daughter, her boyfriend, a star football player who had just been recruited to the school, to the University of Texas. Did you hear about it?
No.
Do you know why?
The cop was black?
Exactly, sir. Exactly. And so instead the story is, yes, domestic violence is horrible.
Yeah, well, this is the way they like to slant things.
Oh, disgusting.
I know a lot of these stories you can't figure. They make race a big issue, but then they won't talk about it in certain situations. But let's go to the best of the group, and then we'll finish with John in Texas. But this is Jan in New Jersey, and this is the best. This is the clip of the day, from my perspective, the clip of the day of these clips. But I don't expect an award.
Well, you never know. A finger's on the button.
To
it's
Jan,
not that good.
Well, judges, hover on your buttons.
To Jan in Emerson, New Jersey. You mentioned the president, the vice president. They did speak at the White House, and we'll have that for you as part of our coverage into the evening. But Jan, you're next. Go ahead with your comment.
Yes, I of course, the policeman was criminally liable, and the verdict was correct.
Of course.
And it's not mentioned very much, but Minneapolis has a history of wrongfully treating black citizens. The Minneapolis police union was very powerful in Minneapolis, and they supported, by the way, prosecuting attorney A.B. Klobuchar for years, and she never prosecuted any policeman for many years. No case was brought before a grand jury, including the infamous case of Mayan Burrell. Now, I think that the way the case has been presented, as if there's widespread racism throughout the United States. I used to be an attorney for the New York City Police Department, and the New York City Police Department makes tens of thousands of arrests every year. They're human beings. It's difficult work. Not every case can be, perfectly done. Mm-hmm. And, there's very little racism, in the New York City Police Department.
So how does this change policing in the future, as somebody who understands it so well?
Well, I mean, the problem is that when the police are attacked the way they have been, they withdraw from confrontations with gangs. And the gangs have been empowered for the last year. And the murder rates and the assaults with guns have gone up in New York City and in many places. And innocent citizens, innocent black citizens, have been the victim of a withdrawal by the police.
Conversely, do you think this is going to present a real challenge for communities across the country to hire police officers in the future? The recruitment process.
Well, yes, I think they'll be more sensitive about hiring. But this defendant had 19 previous complaints. No police department should tolerate a policeman who has 19 complaints. It's too many.
Oh, man.
Now, I never heard that about the 19 complaints. Maybe I did early on.
No.
So this guy reveals a number of things that we just don't know, which every time I hear something like that, I get very irked about it because it's like, why am I hearing this information he's an attorney. I'm sure he's credible. I'm sure he's not full of crap. But why am I hearing stuff like this on a call-in show to C-SPAN when it should be part of the general discussion? So I don't know. I don't know.
I have heard from, just as a side note, from a couple of producers who have told me that the police in Minneapolis are real dicks. I don't know. That's just, anecdotal. It's very possible. I don't know.
I've heard that. Well, that's just what this guy indicated too.
Exactly.
Now, this is the last one. I'm the last of the group. And this I thought was a way to wrap it up. And this is John in Texas.
John in Texas. Good evening, John.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
Well, I wasn't surprised at all about the verdict. Not one bit. I could see it coming. I mean, when you have a judge who won't sequester the jury, and he lets the jury go home every day, and, of course they're watching Don Lemon and all these idiots on these liberal channels. And then Maxine Waters, God bless her, she shows up this weekend and is intimidating the jury. So let me ask you, would you, a citizen of Minneapolis, knowing that you've got to live there, would you dare give them any kind of a verdict other than the one they wanted, which was guilty, of course?
And do you think he was guilty?
Do I think he's guilty?
Mm-hmm.
Not of murder, no.
Hey, John,
it's
thanks.
Been proven.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, not in the least.
John, thank you. By the way, the House today did take up a measure put forth by the House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy to censure Representative Maxine Waters. The vote along a party line, 216 to 210. It was rejected by the majority of the Democrats.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I think, by the way, that Maxine Waters in that commentary she made, which was brought up, I don't have a clip of it, but I was watching the case because they had it on court TV, and it was brought up by the judge because the defense attorney asked for a mistrial because of Maxine Waters, because the case hadn't closed and they hadn't sent the jury off, and they hemmed and hawed about it, and the judge went into a rant about politicians that are interfering with court proceedings, because they're not part of the judicial. And they shouldn't be interfering. And
I have a short news clip about that, just for if you want to throw it in for context.
I'll just finish this and then you can put it up. I just want to mention what he said at the end. He's refused to take it on as a mistrial item. But this is just going to appeals. You can just see it come down.
Totally. And I think that's what it seems to me obvious, that the judge gave everybody, and this is I didn't make this up myself, but when I heard the theory, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. The judge gave an out by saying, well, you've got grounds for appeal based upon what Congresswoman Waters said because of jury, intimidation. And that gave the jury, a way to say, let's just convict them on all three. Everyone goes home. We don't get pig's blood splattered everywhere, and this guy will get out on appeal.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Here's the 1 minute report from ABC.
In the meantime, the judge says comments made by Congresswoman Maxine Waters could affect the outcome of the trial. Waters has encouraged activists to get more confrontational if Chauvin is not convicted of murder.
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
The judge rejected the defense's request for a mistrial, but did say Waters' comments could be grounds for an appeal.
Well, I'll give you that Congresswoman Waters may have given you something on appeal that may result in this whole trial being overturned. I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case.
Last night, Waters telling reporters her remarks should not affect the outcome.
The judge says my words don't matter.
Republicans on Capitol Hill also slamming Waters. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says he'll introduce a proposal to censure Waters this week, accusing her of breaking the law by violating curfew and then incited violence.
Yeah, so we know that didn't work, obviously. There you go. What a mess. What a mess.
Well, you got these blowhard politicians mucking up the works. What do you expect?
Yeah, and it's whatever they want to do on TV, M5M is fine, but when it spills over into the streets, people start breaking stuff and protesting peacefully. You just got to say, why let these people do this?
Because they want to get reelected. It's just their style of being a politician.
Oh, sure. But why does the public? The public are just dumb.
The public's dumb.
Yeah. I agree. It's like the public. Yeah, we went out and voted for Prop B. Oh, shoot. I tried to get your photo, and it's on a very busy part of the road, the photo of the vote no on Prop B in front of a encampment right in the middle of the road. I'm going to have to try it again. I failed on my first drive-by. You can't stop or slow down. It's pretty busy.
No, why don't you should have Tina drive you, and you'd be sitting on the passenger side with the camera.
Well,
have her slow down.
I have to sit in the back seat. That's why it failed, because it's on the left-hand side.
So it's on the left-hand side?
Yeah, so I have to sit.
What if you go by driving in the other direction?
Well, it's so vast. There's so many tents that you don't see it on the other direction. There's a whole different neighborhood on that side. You can't just do that.
No.
No. Uh-huh.
We'll give it a shot.
Oh no, I'll get it for you. I'll try and have it for the Sunday newsletter.
Or if nothing else, do what a professional photographer does.
Yeah.
Go plant a sign and then take the
photo. No, you don't have to. It's there, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Well, how about that, John? We did a full hour without talking about COVID or vaccines. I hope everyone's happy.
It's coming.
Yeah. Well, you'll see that, of course, donations will be down because of this.
Oh, yeah. Next show, there'll be people have to have their COVID fix, and they have to have it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. And I think we subliminally probably didn't do that. We never plan anything, just so everybody knows. And quite honestly, saving podcasting was bigger than COVID in my mind, in my world. Sorry I did that, but we get people saying...
I would say that the Apple podcasting and the other bullcrap news that they had was probably bigger to the audience, generally speaking, although they're more worried about COVID than they are about Apple's coming out with new color iMacs, which is the way Steve Jobs first presented when he had the little
iMac. With the colors, yeah. Yeah.
With the colors. Back to the colors.
I love the, what is that thing called? I love the Apple AirTags. This is a fantastic product, not for what they're touting it for. So you have this little, like, keychain type tag and you can hang it on a
There's
bag.
been a number of companies that have made these things that they stole them from, but go on.
Okay, I'm not saying Apple's great or invented anything. In fact, quite the opposite. So how it works is Apple will be able to help you track this AirTag no matter what it's attached to, no matter where in the world, because it communicates with other iPhone users Bluetooth when they're nearby. Bro, you can pin that on a person. I mean, what a beautiful tracking mechanism. All they have to do is hand law enforcement a little sticker. You know, cops come up, hey, man, how you doing? You'll pat them on the back. All right, good to go. You're tracked. You're tracked.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, what's that on your back? What does it say, kick me?
Seriously, what an odd product. It seems like
it sounds like a law enforcement tool.
Yes. Yeah.
More than anything, more than finding your keys.
Yeah. Well, I just thought that was, did anyone bring that up? And to me, it seems like an obvious problem. Anyway. Anyway. With that, I would like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in C-SPAN callers, ladies and gentlemen, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curran. In the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air.
Oh, you okay?
Subs in the water and all the dames and knights out there.
You all right?
Had an equipment malfunction.
Yes, I can tell. I thought your cans fell over. You're not doing cans. You're not drinking any Paps today, I guess. It's, you're dry. He's dry.
Well, I'm not that thirsty, but now that you mention it, I do have a handy can.
Oh, there he is. And John C. Dvorak is in very good company.
That wine has nothing to do with snobbery. I feel like... Really? You disagree?
I drink beer.
Yeah.
Baby. I don't like wine.
Is it a craft beer?
No. It's the same old stuff. It's Corona Light, Michelob Ultra. And, I started with Pabst Blue Ribbon.
There it is. You and Judge Janine, John, both on the Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Judge Janine seems to me, I bet you if you went out with her.
I bet it'd be a hoot.
Scotch.
You think so?
She's
a Scotch
got
lady?
Scotch drinker written all over her.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't consider
women
that.
who drink Scotch are a certain type, and that's Judge Janine.
Yeah, you got to be careful. I
just don't see her drinking a lot of beer and belching. It just doesn't seem to be her style.
That's how she said she got started before she moved on to Scotch, to the finer things in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have an ISO.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Just saying, if you want to use that at the end of the show, it's always good. Hey, in the morning to the troll room there at noagendastream.com. Trolls, raise your hands, please. I got to count you for our Thursday show here. 1,610 trolls in attendance. That's noagendastream.com, where you can always find the No Agenda Nation community hanging out, listening to live shows, of which there are many, because it's combined with a live stream, noagendastream.com. Go check it out, and I'm sure they'll tell you that you need to register as soon as you can at noagendasocial.com, our federated social network. It's a Mastodon instance. We've reopened registrations. It is open, and we're going to close it down again once we get up to 10,000 as the purge continues. So bring your friends in, and so far everything seems to be civil. Everything seems to be going okay. noagendasocial.com. And then we have the artist for episode, 1339? And we titled that one Accelerationism. And we had, actually, you puffered that we should have COVID survivor T-shirts, mugs, hats, hoodies, etc. So everybody right away went to create images of mugs, hats, T-shirts, hoodies, etc. But that wasn't what we were looking for. It was Melodious Owls who brought the goods with the cardboard cutout COVID survivor written in magic marker. I'd have to say it was just simple, beautiful font used, which is not the standard font. We saw it. We both said, yeah, that's the one, I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Well, you spotted it and liked it, and I there was nothing better.
Right.
And it was simple, to the point, and it had all kinds of messaging in there because it's like a homeless sign.
Yes.
So.
I don't think there was, just a lot of cups, a lot of mugs. Was there anything else?
Nothing else worked.
And there's some stuff like people holding on a fist with a lightning bolt.
Well, I used the lightning rod. I thought that was more of an evergreen style piece.
Good.
There was 4 of them. I used it for the newsletter.
Good.
And it was by Sir Sizzletron, and I don't know what the point of it was either. But as a standalone evergreen art piece, it worked for me.
Yeah, I'm always concerned when people try to guess ahead what we're going to talk about, and they put a lot of effort into stuff, and it just like we look at it.
Yeah, we never talk about it.
Right. But in this case, it worked out for at least one piece of art. So
for them.
Yes. So we thank Melodious Owls for bringing us the artwork for episode 1339. Part of our value for value model. We love our artists. They have a great deal with noagendashop.com where if their art is used, they have a little agreement. They get a third. The shop takes a third. They donate to us. So that seems to be working very well. But also just the competitive nature. People love contributing, and you can see all of these, most of the images throughout every single show. When Dreb Scott puts the chapters together, you can see it in any Podcasting 2.0 compatible app. The only apps that seem to work these days, newpodcastapps.com, and enjoy that as it floats around. And thank you for your courage. Now let's thank our executive and associate executive producers for episode 1340.
Sir Clay, alchemist of the Grand River in Wyoming, Michigan. I don't know. 74946. Sir Clay, alchemist needs your help. And then he's, we didn't see his email.
Well, you know what? I did find his email. And
okay.
This is very odd because this email came in before his donation, and I guess he donated later so that we could read it. It's long, so I won't read all of it. And you'll remember this email because we discussed it. Sir Clay, alchemist of the Grand River, says, "Gentlemen, God's been moving in my life like never before. I've decided to start a podcast called Long Haulin' with Jonathan D. Lopez. It's in Apple Podcasts. Is it? I'm still waiting on the others." Make sure it's in the podcastindex.org. That's all you need these days. And email me with this problem. "As man of conviction, I've turned my life around and my COVID symptoms are disappearing rapidly through the grace of God this past week. I had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I wound up in the ER. It was a scary ordeal, but gentlemen, it was an experience that could really help a lot of people. It has convinced me to start a ministry to help people with substance abuse, as well as to encourage COVID survivors with severe issues with my podcast Long Haulin' with Jonathan D. Lopez. It has been a terrible 8 months, and I have a lot to share, but my income is limited due to working for a restaurant throughout the shutdown. I've been pouring a lot of my own money into the ministries at the church to keep it going strong. I saved for the past 2 years, but the last 8 months I've struggled to work 10 to 12 hours a week at my day job, and I really struggled to be able to even woodwork, which is a great side business, and things have slowed down at the Clyde Park Beanery. But God has been healing almost all the COVID symptoms I have. I have faith He will give me the strength to do exactly what He wants me to do, minister to people who have serious problems due to COVID and tangentially drug use. I'm a former user of cannabis, psilocybin, mushrooms, MDMA, and acid for medicine, not an abuser of these amazing drugs that have changed my life for the best. All I want to encourage people around me to support these causes. My platform, ministry, whatever you want to call it, is just starting. So if you want, you can reach him, John, at longhaulin.live if any producers want to join in. So, and then we thank him very much for his support of the best podcast in the universe.
It's an interesting specialty podcast, I'd say.
No kidding. And we haven't had I don't think any response to COVID that involves God other than people concerned about the vaccine and what might or might not be in it. But that's interesting.
Next is Peter Matthew in Pembroke, Massachusetts, 422. ITM. Last year, I was hit in the mouth by my piping hot wife, Lauren. A couple of notices in there, piping hot. And she dedouched me for my birthday in December.
Ooh.
Anyways, now it is my turn to return to favor for her Earth Day birthday. Ooh. Since discovering your show, it has quickly shot up to the top of the podcast hierarchy thanks to the amygdala shrinkage And please accept this humble donation and de-douche the amazing Lauren Order on No Agenda Social. No jingles, just karma. Pete from FEMA Region 1 in uber liberal Massachusetts. Meat path on No Agenda Social.
You've been de-douched. You've got karma.
Philip Shearhart in Marietta, it says California. I always think it was Georgia, but okay. California, 333.33. This donation on behalf of an avid listener and dear friend who has had a very rough week. I would like to help lift his spirits and give him the greatest gift one could ask for. De-douching.
You've been de-douched.
And also a happy 35th birthday, Chris P. CC double C. We
dive at dawn.
Wet swallow flies at night. Okay. Why don't you read this from Dave?
Yes, Dave Fugazotto, Duke of America's Heartland in the Arabian Peninsula, 333.33. Of course, his original, he says he's from Gladstone, Missouri, but he's been away from his wife and from his family, from his daughter, for about 19 years. And we've been tracking his progress. And we were hoping that he would perhaps finally be back in the arms of his loved ones. But no. Emergency jobs, karma, please, for my 42 employees and myself who will be sacked on 30th of April. There's a chance that we Americans will be retained a bit longer due to the logistical complications of getting us all repatriated to our, quote, point of origin, a.k.a. poo. Fifth grade humor never goes out of style, you know. Oh, P-O-O. Got it. But we're all on short final for departure. We've expected it for a while, but until 2 days ago, we were thinking months, not days. This sucks on many different levels, but most of all because my 25 Saudi and Jordanian employees get to hit the bricks in the middle of Ramadan. Yeah, that's a non-starter. Think of it as you got fired the day after you got back to work from Thanksgiving with Christmas shopping and parties and family time all ahead of you, but now without a paycheck. Basically, the company said, Ramadan Kareem, y'all, GTFO. But hey, on the bright side, I'll get to see my dame sooner than expected and hit one of Sir Spencer's meetups, so that's a plus. Thank you for your courage. And Sir Dave Fugazotto, I'm going to hit you with a TPP since you need emergency jobs, karma. This one needs to be forceful.
Jobs. And jobs. You've got karma.
Onward with Sir Keith Sarlus in Santa Ynez Valley wine growing country, 333. And he writes, it's your friendly neighborhood winemaker. I'd like to take a moment and thank you for the stellar shows as of late. I would like to call out my friend Cliff Chasen out as a douchebag. It's his birthday this week. Also, I was mowing the vineyard and had to stop and laugh when the clip Wild West Pimp Status. I'm donating 333 just to hear you play it again. Let me know when you need some more wine. If you get some wine from him. If you could play Kid Clips, Don't Eat Me, Bo Jiden, and Wild West Pimp Status, Karma for All, Sir Keith Sarlus of the Bacchus of the Santa Ynez Valley.
Yes, of course. It's actually Wild West Pimp style, but it's still just as funny. And no karma needed? Okay.
Don't eat me, Bo Jiden. You're scary. So scary. Bo Jiden says to wear both masks.
What is this?
How many masks?
2 masks.
Who says that?
Bo Jiden.
Wild West Pimp style.
There you go. Wild West Pimp style.
Ryan Sorensen from Havre, Montana, 3/15/69. You did not have a note from him and could not find one offhand.
I could not either.
But if you have something to say, Ryan will be glad to read it later. Seat sitter, $299.33.
Sir seat sitter.
Sir seat sitter. Mm-hmm. You're right. ITM crackpot and buzz guy. The donation finally brings me well past the bouncers and into the round table. Please knight me, Sir Seat. Oh, he's not a knight yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's interesting. I always thought he was. Okay.
Please knight me, Sir Seat Sitter, Knight of the Former Stolen Valor. Yeah, I do. I think so too, because I remember the Knight of the Former Stolen Valor. Oh, well. Maybe he just wants to be knighted again. I'd like poopities and scoopities at the round table. I've reached whatever those are. It sounds like something a dog walker would want at the round table. I recently had the pleasure of speaking with David Icke, Mofax, and many more great minds.
Wow.
Okay. That are far smarter than me on my show. Oh, he does a show. ABS.
Abs.
ABS in a six-pack.
Abs in a six-pack.
Abs in a ABS. What says ABS? Abs in a six-pack. It's been a fun journey, and I need to thank everyone who has helped me through the technical hurdles. Hurdles. He's got with a T. Mainly Darren O'Neill and Metis.
Meduse.
You guys are good guys. Go podcasting, and I feel bad if I didn't call out Boo Berry as a douchebag.
Oops.
Douchebag. Anyways, he like a Fauci wheeze, 3 Fauci wheezes, and back-to-back.
Really? Okay.
Short.
Yeah, here we go. There you go.
Onward with Rick Fawcett in Grand Point, Manitoba, Canada, 25350. ITM, everyone. After hearing the new restrictions added on Monday, he's talking about Canada, I knew it was a sign for me to make my second donation. Here's a portion of the press release. Quote, Pallister said that COVID-19 is once again on the rise, due in large part to the new variants of concern. Retail stores will be limited to 1/3 of the store's capacity, or up to 333 patrons. Interesting number. Whichever is lower. Meals will be limited to 33% of the facility's capacity. Unquote. Yeah, unquote. For your information, here in Manitoba, there are 774 variants of concern.
Oh, jeez.
238 active, 534 recovered, and 2 deaths. Deaths. I can't quite say it right. There are 1,783 total active cases, 132 in hospital, and 33 in the ICU. This is a population of 1.3 million. As to your comments from Sunday's show, we are mostly complainers and not doers. The sad thing about Canada right now is that there are more people that fully trust the media, health officials, and government on this bullshit than people like me who don't. 2 douchebag callouts. Matt from Oregon, who originally hit me in the mouth last July.
Sorry. I'm sorry. No, that's my fault. Okay.
That's Matt from Oregon, who originally hit me in the mouth last July. And Rodney, douchebag, who hit me in the mouth. Who I hit in the mouth. I thank you both for the information and entertainment you provide. It truly helps me keep my sanity. As selfish as it is, I hope you never find your exit strategy and continue putting out the best podcast in the universe. Signed, Rick Fawcett, Grand Point, Manitoba.
Anonymous is another associate executive producer, 22822, from parts unknown in the United States. In the morning, gents, I was smacked in the mouth at the beginning of COVID, and I'm making my first donation, so I might request a de-douching, please.
You've been de-douched.
Just as you guys saved me from the M5M panic porn bullcrap throughout COVID, I credit No Agenda Social, which I joined earlier in the week, for saving me from super woke, algo-ridden Twitter bullcrap. That's catching on. This is but a small token of all the value I've gotten from both the show and my fellow human resources over at No Agenda Social. I'd like to request the following jingles: Whole Load, Massive Dumps, Fauci Wheeze, and a stereo Goat Karma on the side. Stay safe, John. Bye. Anonymous in the free Southeast.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
They did dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
You've got karma.
And there's applause in that?
Yeah.
Andrew Kresick, 22222. For show 1340, Andrew Kresick here, 3rd time donating on the way to knighthood. I just can't express enough of the value of this show and what it means to me as a college student.
Yay. Hello, Kresick.
We got one.
No, we have more than one. We have definitely
more
than one.
And it's him. It's Andrew.
No, it's more than one.
The superb quality of both your work have has kept me sane through my college experience, both on campus and with this horrendous remote learning situation that's becoming a national travesty. In my previous donations, I mentioned that I'd keep tabs on how crazy the college system has become, and honestly, I don't even know where to start. Keep the sanity rolling and the amygdala small. NJNK.
Man. Okay. Another anonymous with a sack of twos, 222.22. Adam, I'm about 45 minutes north of you in Bell County. I've been trying to buy a home for the last few months to no avail. Prices are up 50 to 80% over the last 24 months. I've signed dozens of contracts only to be outbid by cash offers 20 to 40,000 over asking price. The contract I signed yesterday was for a home that sold less than 18 months ago for $270,000. I'm hoping I can get it for $450,000 because it isn't listed yet. The contract I signed today is, this is crazy. The contract I signed today is for another home, similar price spread over the same period. I'm also on 2 different 3-month waiting lists for apartments because I was originally planning on having a custom home built, but the builder has since halted all building and just ate the contract fee because they can't make money now for what they originally settled for if they finish the builds. Jeez. I'm a disabled veteran with a VA loan and work for a tech company in Austin that pays well enough for me to get pre-approved for $750,000. Well, good luck moving, Adam. Sell your home for double what you bought it for, buy back your Airstream, and join the rest of us in high-class RV camping. Which, as it turns out, I learned today from one of our producers, Boots on the Ground, who works in wood, that the number one reason that the price of lumber has skyrocketed is because of the RV market, which are all, as we know, is all made of wood on the inside. So there must be a huge, massive production of people who can't afford a home anymore and have decided to live in RVs.
Well,
how about that?
I'm not sure that's the reason for the price of the wood.
Well, I'll read the note in a little bit.
A couple of things. As he read that, and we've been talking about this, or as he wrote that, and we've been talking about this issue. We have the right way around the situation is there has to be some, and it can be done, some kind of boilerplate legislation that we can present to our various state legislatures to stop the wholesale buying up of houses out from under people who want to be homeowners. It's very easy to. It's an obvious thing to legislate for, and there's nobody that's not going to go for this in the legislature because they know that the banks represent 1 or 2 votes, and the public at large represents thousands. So you have the leverage to make this happen, and I think it's about time. We have people out there that can write legislation. I think we should put a little legislative arm, attach it to the No Agenda show, and do what these other guys do. That you have just stock legislation that we write up and get people to force it down the throats of the various legislatures. It's not that hard.
Sounds to me like one of those things that we'll never follow through on.
No, we don't need to. We want people out there to do it. All we do is push it. We can follow through on the promotion. We can't do the writing, that's for sure.
Right.
I think it's something that needs to be done.
Yeah, this has to be stopped. That's obvious.
No, it has to be stopped. It has to be stopped. And there's only one way of stopping it. You can't stop it by bitching about it.
Right, but people have to understand what's going on first. This is not even known. People don't even read. There's no news stories.
It won't take long.
Yeah, but there's no news stories about this. I'm not seeing it.
Well, they're idiots, these news guys. This is pathetic, our news media.
Yes.
Michael Perham is not pathetic. He's in Roy, Illinois, 20420. A dude named Mike with Ben skills. By the way, there's something I was going to mention in the last show. Do you realize that a lot of dudes named Ben are actually named Ben?
Ben? Oh, yeah. Of course.
It comes up all the time in the conversation.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a dude named Ben. What's your name? My name's Ben.
Ben? Yeah.
So if you want your kids to be programmers, name them Benjamin.
It's going to help.
You name Mike with Ben skills, making my way 420 1971 birthday with this episode. Guns and weed and freedom. I think that's what that's his
Guns and weed and freedom. Yes, okay.
I think that's what he wanted for jingles.
There's no jingle. No, we have no weed jingle. We have no guns jingle.
You have the freedom.
Well, I can give him that. Hold on a second. I thought he was just saying it offhandedly.
Freedom.
There you go. There's your freedom.
What an idiot. Adrian Workman at $200.42. Thank you, Dean Reiner, Lavish, and Sir Seat Sitter for giving me the proper kick in the motivator. Mothman's got nards to send in this first donation. John, wine is fine and your writing is top shelf. Adam, the joy you experience for getting the best sounding podcast in the universe to purr makes me joy.
Brings me joy.
To the rest of the... Brings me joy. That makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To the rest of the phenomenal talent featured on the No Agenda stream, I'd like to say, I swear I'm not that high, guys. My father and I have job interviews this week. This is almost in code again. I'm having trouble reading it, obviously.
It's quite interesting.
My father and I have job interviews this week. Mine during the show. Can we get a little Wicked Witch of the West jobs, Karma?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have that?
It's almost...
My little pretty. About the other jingle, I was hoping Adam would lay down a little theremin if John could read. There's something spooky going around.
Hold on, let me get it then. All right.
There's something spooky going around these here parts.
Masterpiece.
In a proper Appalachian, straight from the mines of West by God, Virginia spirit. That would be rad AF. Love it lit and go podcast. Love is light. Lit. Love is light. I don't know what he's saying.
I think he meant to say love and light, but it came out as love is lit. Which
Which
I kind of like.
and go podcasting. Boo Burry, Mothman of the mini apocalypse.
I'm liking this.
BY03-DG. Okay.
I'm liking the love is lit. I'm going to keep that one in there. All right, here's
love is lit, man.
Here's his jingle.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
And that's all we got. And that's our Hillary.
You've got karma.
Wait, maybe he meant something else. Hold on a second. What did he mean? I don't. It's maybe too delicious. I know which one. That's not the right jingle. I want to make sure he gets the right one. Too delicious. Because we have one with a cackle. I thought.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Thanks.
Steve Vischer, Knight of the Southern Skies in Cranbourne, East Victoria, Australia. $200.33. Hi, TM. Just wanted to offer an extra gesture of thanks this month after listening to the two recent clip shows. The clip shows.
Yay.
They brought back a lot of memories and made me think about how much No Agenda has been such a regular part of my life for so many years now. I've been a listener since around episode 70. The greatest gift from these shows is this. I simply cannot watch an MSM news show now without a completely critical, cynical eye, unless it's for gathering clips, of course. Thank you. Thank you. May I request a Trains Good, Planes Bad jingle? All the very best to you both. Steve Vischer, Knight of the Southern Skies.
All aboard, Trains Good, Planes Bad. Woo-hoo!
All right, I'll read this one. Will Sadler from Phoenix, Arizona, $200. He and we'll have one more associate executive producer for this round. Adam and John, 2 weeks ago, my exquisite keeper and I celebrated our wedding anniversary in Las Vegas. For fun, we played roulette, betting $5 on numbers 20 and 17, our wedding year. 17 hit on the very first spin, paying $200. Hello. Wait, aren't you supposed to have isn't it 36 times 5? Am I missing how that works?
I thought it was 35 to 1 on those numbers.
Okay. We couldn't believe our luck and immediately chased out. This week is Jill's 33rd birthday. To celebrate, I'm committing the $200 in winnings to No Agenda in her name. Please accept this donation and credit my sweetheart as an associate executive producer. Let me just do that right now. So that is Jill. Got it. Set. I hope that by passing along the Bellagio's generosity, the universe will comp my wife and Gitmo Nation with good fortune. Jill is a faithful NA listener and also enjoys John's culinary tips. The 2016 Bordeaux from Costco was a winner. Saying all that, 33 symbolizes rebirth, elevated consciousness, cosmic harmony, and divinity. May Jill's 33rd year be as magical. Thank you for reading this. She is my crackpot and I her buzzkill. Happy birthday, Jill. She's never been de-douched. Well, let's do that right away.
You've been de-douched.
She's never been de-douched. Please add her to the birthday list. Yes, she's on the list. And will you please give her a biscuit for her birthday? Okay. I didn't have these set up. Biscuit for her birthday. Where's my biscuit? Biscuits for my birthday. 33 is the magic number. Damn. Yep, got that one. And then that's true. And little girl, yay. Well, I think I have that.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
33. That's the magic number. It's the magic number.
That's true.
Yay!
There you go. And happy birthday. She's on the list.
And wrapping it up today is Sir Upper Decker with $200. Parts unknown. Sir Upper Decker, not overboard. Seeing life take a few funny turns. I need some NA for balance. No jingles, just karma, please.
You got it. And thank you for your courage.
You've got karma.
And that's our executive producers and associate executive producers for show 1340. I want to thank every one of them for helping make this show happen.
Indeed, we'll be thanking more of our producers in the second segment, $50 and above. If you'd like to participate in the grand experiment known as Value for Value, or we've made it so that we are uncancelable because we don't take money from corporations, no advertising, no creepy money from China, for anything like that. It's just you, the producers. You sponsor us, you support us, you make the show continue to turn, and that is through the 3 T's, your time, your talent, and your treasure. Please go to the following website to support us some more.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Or maybe it's just for the first time you're doing it. Regardless, thanks for producing 1340.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Would like to capitalize on our producer from Scandinavia who mentioned the complaining, as we do have some fresh reports from the prison country known as Scandinavia. And our Scandinavian brothers and sisters are in trouble, and they're letting us know.
We are down here in Niagara Falls, Ontario. We have a flag upside down in distress, and we are about to Morse code SOS across the border to our neighbors. We are asking for help. We are hostages in our province now. We are no longer free to do whatever we want as our charter allows us.
So they're sending Morse code with light across Niagara Falls. It's funny, but if you watch that whole video, it's in the show notes. They're kind of serious. And I wondered, are we supposed to do something? Are we bad neighbors that we're not, trying to help them out?
The problem is they're they're in the worst part of the United States insofar as COVID's concerned, which is New York.
Yeah, you're right.
They're not going to get any help.
Not going to get any help.
They go over to the Vancouver side of things, and maybe you can send a light from Victoria Island and get somewhere.
So you asserted,
Vancouver Island from the town of Victoria. Let's get that straight.
You asserted on the last episode that Canadians, the way they get things done in Canada is by complaining. And that's what our producer referenced.
My theory.
Yes. Well, I got this clip from one of our Canadian producers said, John's absolutely right. And it worked.
Good evening. The Ford government has announced it will be reversing course on its initial intent to allow for greater police powers. This comes just one day after the new measures were announced, causing massive backlash. The announcement Friday allowed police to stop people at random and ask where they live. Today, the province taking that back and saying police will only be allowed to stop vehicles or people if they are suspected of participating in an organized public event or social gathering. The statement from Solicitor General Sylvia Jones sent this afternoon read, "Our priority has always been to address and discourage gatherings and crowds that violate the stay-at-home order and have the potential to further spread COVID-19.
The fact that anyone can be stopped and questioned by police just by virtue of being out of their home is, it turns our normal world sort of on its head.
The Canadian Civil Liberties Association was just one of the many groups outraged by the province's initial decision, even threatening to take legal action. Shortly after tonight's announcement, the organization said it will put the legal challenge on pause, saying the new order rationalizes and narrows the unconstitutional Friday standard. The new standard is also tied to a public health objective and avoids arbitrary detention.
This is so they complain, and then basically the authorities say, okay, we won't check everybody, just people who are suspicious. Think you need to ramp up the complaining, Ontario.
Yeah, ramp it up one more level, and you'll get rid of that too.
And Montreal has their own problems. They've got the giant voice system roaming the streets.
Are you between 55 and 79 years old and would like to get vaccinated? We have a mobile vaccination clinic.
Yeah, I'll be running right out like it's the ice cream man. Oh, vaccination. Yeah, I'm so happy. Vaccination. We've been talking about how happy people are at getting their vaccine. People feeling invincible, feeling like they can take on the world. They can do anything. Isn't Rick Steves, isn't he the travel guy on PBS?
Rick Steves, yeah, he's the guy that travels.
He's the guy that travels. So I'm not sure if this was on a PBS show or not, but he was talking about the vaccine, and here's what he said.
And when that syringe went into my shoulder, all of my endorphins just did these little happy, giddy flip-flops, and it wasn't a selfish joy. It was a societal joy, He
got all giddy and flip-flop, and his endorphins were just making him so happy, and it's for society.
And when that shot went in here, I thought, I'm doing a good deed for our entire community.
Yeah, this is this is the good deed for the earth. This is an interesting meme that they've created, which is you're not doing it for yourself.
No.
You're doing it for other people. This idea, because we are a generous folk, generally speaking.
Folk, yeah.
And so we would have you're not driving as much. You're staying at home for the good of others. You're not staying it got nothing to do with you. It's for others. And it's an interesting sales pitch because it does seem to affect a lot of people who must be guilt-ridden. They don't belong to church anymore. They don't go to church. They don't give their money to
no more
ministries. They are completely. They're looking for an out, and the vaccine seems to be a religious out.
President Biden.
No working American should lose a single dollar from their paycheck because they chose to fulfill their patriotic duty of getting vaccinated.
So patriotic duty.
Yes, I caught that too. Unfortunately, I don't have it. One of my clips may actually incorporate that. Yes, I noticed this too. I thought this was, wow, a patriotic, not only just a patriotic act, but the word duty.
Duty, yeah. It's your duty. Oh, yeah. I
was very upset by him saying that. I have my two Biden.
But just let me give you the second part of that. The reason why is he's calling for, I don't know if I think it's already a done deal. The IRS will compensate businesses who give people time off to recover from your vaccine. To recover. Since when has this ever happened? Oh, everyone needs structural time to recover from the vaccine because, when you feel like you're dying, that says the vaccine is working.
I don't even want to. It just makes me shake my head.
Yeah, but it's true.
But, hey, Bill, what happened to Jim? He's dead? Oh, the vaccine must have been working.
Wow, that was very South Parky of you. I kind of like that.
Let's play COVID Biden on getting vaccinated. I think this is similar to what you played, maybe a little longer.
Okay.
Too many younger Americans may still think they don't need to get vaccinated. So, let me explain 2 reasons why we need everyone over 16 years of age in America to get vaccinated, and share what we're going to do to encourage it. The first reason, quite simply, is to keep you from getting very sick or dying. Hundreds of Americans are still dying from COVID every day. The data could not be clearer at this point. If you are fully vaccinated, 2 weeks beyond your last shot, you are nearly 100% protected against death from COVID.
Yes.
No matter what your age, no matter what your health history.
Really?
Until you are fully vaccinated, you are still vulnerable. The vaccine can save your life. The second reason to get vaccinated is to protect your community, your family, your friends, and your neighbors. Vaccines can save your own life, but they can also save your grandmother's life, your coworker's life, the grocery store clerk, or the delivery person, helping you and your neighbors get through the crisis. Now, that's why you should get vaccinated.
It's not working anymore. Headline: more Americans now eligible for COVID-19 vaccine than ever, but mass vaccination sites are shutting down over decreased demand. And it's everywhere. The big mass vaccination sites in Florida, in Clarksville, in Georgia, North Carolina, all shutting down because no one is showing up. People have figured it out. They don't want this anymore. Like, okay.
You're so opposite of my way of seeing this.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Everyone rushed to get the vaccine, but I think the rush is over.
I'm not sure it's completely over yet because they're still pushing it. That brings me to a 5-part, all shorts, 5-part clip from NPR. And this is the most amazing series of clips I put together for quite a while because as it evolves, you'll hear it. It's the truth is now bad.
You're just figuring this one out.
The truth is misinformation, and they're promoting it just that way on NPR. Listen to this series. This is the vaccine misinformation clip series, and this is part 1. And you'll start to hear it right away, and it gets weirder and weirder and more Orwellian. Let's use that word as it goes on.
Tomorrow, Facebook, Twitter, and Google will testify again before Congress. The subject, rampant disinformation on their platforms, ranging from lies about the 2020 election to the COVID-19 rollout. New reporting from NPR out today shows that a specific type of story about vaccines has been spreading quickly online and may be leading to increased hesitancy. NPR's Miles Parks is here to explain. Hey there.
Hey, Ari.
So what is this new data and what does it show about vaccine misinformation?
Okay, so I can't wait to hear what the story is. Ari has the scoop.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, John. Should we play clip 2, John? Hey, here we go.
So we analyzed the types of news stories that have gotten the most engagement on social media this year using data from this media tracking firm called NewsWhip.
Data.
What we found was basically that the stories specifically about people who have died sometime after being vaccinated went viral at a really high rate. Now, health officials have obviously found no connection between these deaths and the shots they received.
Obviously.
But these are stories.
I like the journalistic term, obviously, because, obviously, you don't have to research it. Obviously, that's just stupid.
Went viral at a really high rate. Now, health officials have obviously found no connection between these deaths and the shots they received. But these are stories with headlines that don't say that. They say basically, person gets vaccine, dies 2 weeks later, and people who were probably already hesitant of vaccines are spreading those articles on social media as if they're evidence. We found Facebook pages with tens of thousands of followers sharing these articles with captions like, quote, I'll pass on the vaccinations, or, quote, very concerned about those getting the poke.
So this obviously is not showing anything representative or backed by science, but just how far out of the mainstream is it? How far are we talking?
Yeah. So what's interesting is that, like you said, very few vaccinated people have actually died. Something like 0.0018%, according to the CDC.
Oh, nice. How you don't put that into absolute numbers. Well done.
00. Was it 00? There's that. I question that number, and I like people to try to track this down. It was some ridiculously low number.
Here it is.
It's something like 0.0018%.
First of all, this reporter says it's something like. This is not journalism. It's something. Obviously, there was no connection.
The wordage is perfect.
It's something like 0.018, whatever. It's your grandma, empty chair.
By the way, if you're going to say something like and then have it so specific that you're down to the, thousandths, that doesn't make any sense at all if you think about it.
You posted the VAERS document on No Agenda Social, which I've now also replicated in the show notes. It's worth a look. I don't think there's ever been this many adverse reactions to a vaccine in the history, or at least reported. And that's what's being reported. And who's not reporting? How do you report it?
Most people don't report. I mean,
Horowitz
went through 2 feverish episodes, a sore arm. He didn't report to anybody. A friend of my daughter's who keeps pushing Jay to get the vaccine, but she had a miserable time, had to take time off of work. She couldn't move her arm. That wasn't reported. The number of things that are reported is minuscule compared to the effects people are having. I've never heard anyone just get through this thing with a straight up, I got the shot, I'm fine.
Well, no, hey, the president just offered companies to get a tax rebate or something for people to take time off to recover from it. And I think we should probably stop talking about Horowitz, because I heard the last DH Unplugged, and now I think he's getting annoyed by us talking about him. So why don't we
I told him that we'd stop.
Yeah, so why don't we just save all of our comments for the wake? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that'll work. That's sick.
We love him. No, I don't wish any. I only wish good things.
I don't even think he listens to the show.
Oh, okay. Sure. Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go with clip 3 as we start to turn. This thing gets very bizarre.
Have died after getting their shot, and that includes elderly people who already were suffering from other health conditions. But online,
stop it again. Remember the episode up in, I guess it was in Norway or Sweden, I think it was Norway, where they gave the whole group of people in a nursing home, and 24 of them died after the shot. They said, maybe we shouldn't be giving it to people over 80. And meanwhile, but now they're reporting, no, nothing's ever happened. Who are they kidding? But I'm sorry for interrupting there. Please play on.
Have died after getting their shot, and that includes elderly people who already were suffering from other health conditions. But online, you get a very different picture. The vaccine story with the most engagement so far in 2021 was not about the vaccine rollout or about new trial research. It was about someone who died a couple weeks after getting a shot. One of these stories has ranked near the top in engagement almost every other day this year.
And what do we know about the effect that has on people consuming these stories?
So research shows that people generally are pretty bad at assessing risk, but that's especially true after they hear a vivid story. I talked to Dean Freeland, who's a communications professor at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
This is something that we see, I think, repeatedly with human cognition, the emphasis on the breathless anecdote and then the discounting of statistics.
There's just no way that if you're one of these people who either commented, liked, or shared one of these articles that connects vaccines to death, that you're going to be more likely to get a vaccine, even though, again, there has been no scientific connection between the two things.
But it's interesting that he calls it a breathless anecdote, which is different from an outright lie, and I would imagine makes it tougher for these big tech companies to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. He basically made the distinction of it's not really disinformation, but it is a fallacy. I also talked to Brett Schaefer, who studies online disinformation at the Alliance for Securing Democracy think tank. What he told me is he thinks about it as lying through truth. A recent report he co-authored found actually that Russia has started using this tactic.
Hold on a second. Lying through truth? Well, I got to hear this again. Hold on.
You got to back it up because then the punchline at the end is Russia.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on it, but you also jumped on it. So let me hear again.
There's been no scientific connection between the two things.
But it's interesting that he calls it a breathless anecdote, which is different from an outright lie, and I would imagine makes it tougher for these big tech companies to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. He basically made the distinction of it's not really disinformation, but it is a fallacy. I also talked to Brett Schaefer, who studies online disinformation at the Alliance for Securing Democracy think tank. What he told me is he thinks about it as lying through truth. A recent report he co-authored found actually that Russia has started using this tactic online more and more.
Oh, lying through truth. What does that even mean?
And Russia.
Well, of course. Wow. Okay. I'm ready.
Lying through truth. This report has now gone into the Orwellian stratosphere.
Lying through truth. It's a show title.
It's a little long, but yeah, it's not bad. Okay, that was clip 3, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, there's a little short bit right here in clip 4.
It's this sort of malinformation and use of selectively cherry-picked truth to create this completely warped sense of reality. And the end effect is essentially the same as a false narrative.
Wow! That's exactly what they do.
Ha! That's exactly why they clipped so short. This is what they did to Trump.
Exactly what they did to Trump. Exactly.
I would like to play this clip again.
Oh, you got it.
It's this sort of malinformation and use of selectively cherry-picked truth to create this completely warped sense of reality. And the end effect is essentially the same as a false narrative.
Wow. Well, takes one to know one. Yeah, that's great. So I guess, but that's what we're accused of too. Oh, they just cherry pick little things that are true and then turn it into a whole narrative, man. 3 hours.
Yeah, well, we've been doing it. It's not just a few things because for 14 years.
Yeah.
At some point, you think that
averaging 50 clips an episode. Yeah, we're not making it up, people.
This stuff's out there.
It's out there.
All we're doing is playing it.
That's right.
Okay, here he raps.
Now, executives at Facebook have alluded to this being a problem, but they also say there isn't a clear solution when it comes to policing how people relay true information. Tomorrow, the leaders of Facebook and Twitter are testifying in front of Congress, and it'll be interesting to see whether this trend, gets asked of them about, how are they going to respond.
That is some original reporting there from NPR's Miles Parks. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thanks, Ari.
Such insight. Thanks, Ari. Wow.
Yeah, original reporting. Reporting.
You want to hear some misinformation? I got some misinformation for you. The longest clip I have. But I think it's worth listening through it, and we will have to stop it. This is a public service announcement from the National Health Service in the United Kingdom. They start off, it's video, but the audio is just fine. And it starts off with a blue slide that says this is being aired simultaneously on BBC, ITV, Sky, Channel 4, whatever have you. So clearly this is...
So don't bother changing the channel.
That's right, because it's going to be on every single channel. And it is specifically for UK ethnic minorities to... motivate them to get the poke, by the way. I thought that was great from the NPR guy. I had not heard the poke out in the wild.
Yeah, I like poke.
The poke.
We can use that as a show
title. That's also a show title, the poke. Yeah, I like that a lot. Listen to how they want, and these are celebrities, none of whom we know, not all celebrities, a couple of them are doctors. It's your typical thing. We've seen it here, but this is specifically targeted towards UK ethnic minorities, Muslims, and here we go. And the music is great.
Hello, namaste. Sri Akal. Assalamu alaikum. This past year has been challenging for us all, with many of us losing our loved ones.
But we will be reunited with our friends and family. All we have to do is just take
take the vaccine.
Many in our community.
So just so you know, there's nothing else. Hey, all you got to do is just take the vaccine.
All we have to do is just take the vaccine.
Many in our community have suffered the most, largely due to our efforts on the front line at the NHS or as key workers.
Looking after others and serving our community is what we do. It's how we've been brought up.
This is interesting because it's, there's talking about Indians and Pakistanis specifically. They're very racist, like they're the only doctors.
That's why we have such immense pride when a family member becomes a doctor or a nurse. We have so much respect for them. They need our respect now more than ever.
Today, those doctors and scientists have found us a way forward. A COVID-19 vaccine that will help save lives.
There is no scientific evidence to suggest that the vaccine will work differently for people from ethnic minorities.
In fact...
Whoa! This I don't understand. There's no sign that this will work differently for ethnic minorities. However, in the United States, we always hear that black and brown people are the ones that are disproportionately affected. So only American black and brown people?
Definitely not African black and brown people.
For people from ethnic minorities.
In fact, the scientists who developed one of the most widely used vaccines are Muslim.
Oh.
The vaccine does not include pork or any material of fetal or animal origin. The vaccine
What?
does not... Yeah, just so you know...
Is this a joke?
No, this is...
Are you playing a parody?
No, and that pill machine was also real. No, I know it sounds crazy, but this is not a parody. And there's no pork in the vaccine.
Use vaccines are Muslim. The vaccine does not include pork or any material of fetal or animal origin. The vaccine does not contain the virus itself, only harmless elements from it.
Taking the vaccine is the only way to boost your immunity against COVID for you and your loved ones.
Okay, lie. An outright lie. Taking the COVID vaccine is the only way to boost your immune system? Are you kidding me now? That's a lie.
The vaccine does not include pork or any material of fetal or animal origin. The vaccine does not contain the virus itself, only harmless elements from it.
Taking the vaccine is the only way to boost your immunity against COVID for you and your loved ones.
Bullshit.
The vaccine was available quickly because of a global effort.
Because huge funds were made available by governments around the world.
Oh, who developed these vaccines? I mean, not that I want us to take credit for it, but please. You're telling me now that We Are the World did this, the World Economic Forum, that the World Health Organization, that they did it only because we put all our money together? Really? Really?
So something that would normally take years took just months.
It's very, very rare for vaccines to have a long-term side effect.
Very, very rare for vaccines to have long-term side. Don't worry. Don't look over there.
What we do know is that COVID-19's long-term implications are deadly.
The COVID-19 vaccines have gone through the same strict processes and regulations as other vaccines, such as
lie
for measles, mumps, rubella, and TB.
Now, that is just an outright lie. It's not an approved vaccine. And you're saying it's gone through the same stringent trials, which would include long-term trials, animal trials. These people are lying.
There's no...
That is an out-and-out lie.
An outright
and this
lie.
is put on all the networks in the UK. The UK should be ashamed of itself for putting this kind of dreck on the air.
It's unconscionable.
It's blatant lies.
Yeah, it's a lie. This is absolute
official government lies. There it is. There's your official government lies right there.
There's those Curry and Dvorak, man, picking little truths to create a narrative.
Implications.
Who wrote a note in that got your goat?
No, it wasn't about us at all, actually. But that's okay. Reddit.
The COVID-19 vaccines have gone through the same strict processes and regulations as other vaccines, such as for measles, mumps, rubella, and TB.
There is no chip or tracker in the vaccine to keep watching where you go. Your mobile phone actually does a much better job of that.
I love that throwaway line from the government. And by the way, we're not tracking you through the vaccine. We got you. We got you on your cell phone.
There is no chip or tracker in the vaccine to keep watching where you go. Your mobile phone actually does a much better job of that.
Pregnant women are not excluded from the vaccine, but should discuss their case with a doctor.
There's also no evidence to suggest the vaccine affects fertility.
Herd immunity is not an option, as many millions will need to be infected.
Okay, hold on a second. Herd immunity is not an option. Isn't that the whole point of vaccinations, to achieve herd immunity?
This is unbelievable.
No, it's true.
Affects fertility.
Herd immunity is not an option, as many millions will need to be infected, causing a disastrous number of deaths.
The vaccine does not change or damage our DNA. Not taking the vaccine can damage us more.
3 of my aunties and one of my uncles have had the vaccine.
My mum has had the vaccine. My dad.
So then they just go into a whole long thing about how they're all groovy, they've all been vaxxed. This is riddled with lies. Nice. But there you go.
Well, a couple of things. One, first of all, I think that clip is a long clip. And 2, I think you should get clip of the day for it.
No, thank you.
Clip of the day.
It is long, and I prefaced it.
Now, I will have a proviso that it's so bad, that clip, that I doubt that it's real.
Well, I have the video. It's online. It's in the show notes. Looks pretty damn real to me. So
it's just because it's hard to believe that something like this would be put out.
Yeah, I have a whole bin full of lies, which I've cherry-picked carefully for your enjoyment. But before we do that, let's go talk about marketing, because this is the great marketing reset. This is where Pfizer wants to pull ahead. And in a very candid moment, which is really a 6-minute segment chopped down to a $1.38, President Trump was on Hannity, and oh my God, I do not miss the way this guy jumps around at all. Instead of just coming out and saying it, I've got to piece it together, because he goes off on tangents about himself. And it was a reminder how hard it is to get anything good out of him. It's much easier just to grab little things where he's acting completely nuts. And he pretty much said Pfizer's in bed with the FDA, and they screwed Johnson & Johnson for Pfizer's benefit.
Okay, then I did 2 things. I backed the companies up financially, and Pfizer didn't want to admit it, and they had to retract their statement. Pfizer's really in, okay? I'll give you a little breaking news. Pfizer is in with the FDA. And what the FDA did with Johnson & Johnson is so stupid. They all want me to do a commercial, because a lot of our people don't want to take vaccine. I don't know what that is exactly. Republican, I don't know what it is.
You encourage people to get it.
I encourage them to take it. I do. But they want me to make a vaccine.
Did you get it?
Yes, I did. I had it and I took it, okay?
You got both.
Because I believe. So here's the thing. They want me to do a commercial saying, take the vaccine.
Well.
And they think that's very important, and I'd certainly do it. But then I call them, I say, let me ask you a question. You just did something. 6 people out of 8 million people. Somebody said that Tylenol, women's birth control, all cause far more. 6 people
out of 7
experienced
million.
Some difficulty. 6 people, and that's too bad. It's terrible. But they paused it. That's the worst thing you could have done from a public relations standpoint. They paused Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And it probably even affects the other vaccines a little bit, but they paused it. It's had a devastating impact. Pfizer got together, and I'll tell you something. I think it's very suspect as what they did with Johnson & Johnson, because the only people that are happy about that are Pfizer and Moderna. The only people that are happy about that, because what they did is a terrible, terrible thing.
Sounds like he's understanding of what went down, as we called it as well.
We call it right away. Mm-hmm. It also is compounding a little bit. Jay found a article about Johnson and it would kind of headline Johnson & Johnson flu factory or vaccine factory shut down.
Yep.
And when you read the article, it turns out it's some factory that's not even operating, and it was
not even approved.
They were thinking of maybe turning it into a vaccine plant, but then they decided not to because they got shut down anyway. And it's another bogus planted story by Pfizer.
Sure.
Pfizer's behind all this.
Now, let's see if we can figure out who's behind this, or if this is just a true mistake.
New at 5:30, Walgreens says it recently learned one of its North Carolina pharmacies mistakenly injected patients with saline instead of the COVID-19 vaccine. The company says it has reached out to all the affected patients in Monroe and Union County and had them come back to the pharmacy to get the real COVID shots. They'll be able to get their second doses on time, but the mistake has some people worried. Walgreens says it is taking immediate steps to go over procedures with staff to keep this from happening again.
How does that happen? I mean, there has to be an actual bottle that you stick the needle into and draw the vaccine into the syringe that says COVID-19 vaccine on it. If it says anything but that, don't you think that would be noticed? I mean, and of course, there's no reporting on this. How does that accidentally happen? And what if they accidentally inject me with something that I'm really not supposed to be injected with?
It's beyond me.
Now this
and the COVID vaccines are in these refrigerators, and they have to be brought out.
Yeah.
And
they're
just kept separate. Then all of a sudden, a saline the bottle, same exact size, looks exactly identical. Are you kidding me?
Ooh, I got a nice one. In the troll room says it could also be a rogue pharmacist who knows and is trying to save people. Oh, that's a good one. Could be. Well, we don't have anything in this report. I mean, gosh, why report on that? Just tell
the
people.
report has no information whatsoever.
Very low information report there. Now, this does tie into the control groups being destroyed, as Pfizer and Moderna have announced that since it's kind of not fair for the people who receive the placebo in the trial to, not have the vaccine, now they're just going to give them all the vaccine for free. For free is what is supposed to distract you from the fact that the minute you do that, you have removed the control group for long-term effects, which I'm sure they don't really want having around. This is not scientific. It's cruel. Cruel.
Science.
But anyway, we all know it's Republicans.
Our new poll this week shows that 43% of Republicans still don't want to get the vaccine. How frustrating is this for you, Dr. Fauci?
You know, Dana, it is quite frustrating because the fact that one may not want to get vaccinated, in this case, a disturbingly large proportion of Republicans only actually works against where they want to be. They want to be able to say these restrictions that are put on by public health recommendations are things that they're very concerned about. We're all concerned about that. We share that concern. But the way you get rid of those restrictions is to get as many people vaccinated as quickly and as expeditiously as possible, because when that happens, for absolutely certain, you're going to see the level of virus in the community go down and down and down to the point where you would not have to have those public health restrictions. So it's almost paradoxical that on the one hand, they want to be relieved of the restrictions, but on the other hand, they don't want to get vaccinated. It just almost doesn't make any sense.
Of course not. They're Republicans, man. Come on. That's what you want to say. Republicans are idiots.
You know what the word is if you talk about this to the liberals in the Bay Area?
Okay.
Oh, they don't want to get the shot? Good. More shots for me and they can die.
And people thought I was ghoulish with my Horowitz comment. Crap. That's really what they're saying? Is this at your dinner table, or how did you hear this?
No, not at the dinner table. But if you talk to Lib Joes and anybody else around here, that's the response you get.
And what do you say to something like that? If someone says that, what do you say?
What are you supposed to say? You're sick. You go see a shrink or something. You got something wrong with you.
I have an important announcement to make. But first, a quick PSA from NBC Nightly News.
As vaccinationability eligibility expands, make a plan for when and where to get vaccinated. Visit planyourvaccine.com.
I just love vaccinationability eligibility. Do you think that was a flub?
Vaccinationability eligibility. You play it again.
I think he flubbed it.
Play it again. I would listen more carefully. I'm not sure it was a flub.
What I think was supposed to be said was vaccine eligibility. He rolls out vaxability and then just goes with it.
As vaccinationability eligibility expands, make a plan for when and where to get vaccinated. Right. Visit planyourvaccine.com.
I love vaxability.
Well, he plowed right through it as like a pro.
Yeah, pro move.
Yeah, pro move, and because he in real time, his brain said, it was the wrong word, but actually going back and correcting it, you shouldn't do that because it actually sounds right.
We'll do it live.
All instant within the brain. Yeah.
Pro. Lester's a pro. Can't take that away from him. Very, very, very tight. All right. So
Vaxability is another possibility for a show title.
Yes, it's fantastic as a show title. Now
we're inundated.
Check this. Because this goes back to one of your theories. You just said these people are insane. They've got mental health problems. They should probably go see a psychiatrist. One of your assertions has been that a lot of what we're seeing is mass hysteria. Would you like to expound on that just for a moment?
Yeah, the mass hysteria, there's a column. You can dig it up if you go to Dvorak.substack.com and go back. You can see the list of columns. There's one on mass hysteria. Mass hysteria, which is not an unknown phenomenon, and I've documented some of the more extreme cases, happens to a public at large, and it results in this insanity. And I think there's an element of mass hysteria that's been going on for almost a year.
Now, when you what is the result of the mass hysteria?
Well, everybody all thinks things are going on that aren't going on. They're imagining things that you can actually get sick. You can imagine. There's been cases where people have gotten. There's a lot of examples of whole audiences, large groups of people in geographic areas where they all hear about there's like a bug or some bug around that's biting people, and it's making them get paralyzed on one side, and there's no bug, but they all get paralyzed anyway. I mean, it's a mass hysteria as a phenomenon. It's just frightening.
Good Morning America, Hour 3.
But there's some interesting news about a possible treatment.
Exactly. And listen, as we watch the goings on of this pandemic, remember, we're focused on prevention, immunization, we're focused on testing, and we're focused on treatment. You have to do all of those things at the same time. So some interesting news about treatments, in particular, using a very commonly used antidepressant. It's called fluvoxamine. It's an SSRI used to treat OCD and depression. In 2 very small studies that have been published, they showed some promising results in patients with COVID treated with this drug. In particular, a recent study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association compared head-to-head placebo versus this commonly used antidepressant in patients with COVID-19. The number of patients who got this drug had no hospitalization, so some interesting and encouraging data there. Possible mechanisms at play, Amy. It may prevent a cytokine storm, that so-called inflammatory response, which we know can be so dangerous in patients with COVID, but it is still under research, not ready for prime time yet.
So, an antidepressant, which might control mass hysteria, is now resulting, small trials, don't get too enthusiastic yet, is now resulting in people who are not getting sick. Well, how about that?
That's interesting. Yeah, it would make sense.
And it gets better. Fluvoxamine was developed by Kali Dufar, part of Solvay Pharmaceuticals in Belgium. That company is now known as Abbott Laboratories. The very people who were making billions of dollars on bullcrap PCR testing, whose business, of course, is shutting down as people aren't getting tested as much. So why don't they hey, what do we got? We got some shit over here. Do a study, all right? Boom. I mean, everyone's just trying to get in on the business.
Oh, it's a bonanza.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're doing.
I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. Hold on, before I just need to stay on the money, unless you have something about this.
No, but you mentioned PCR tests. I want to mention that our Canadian complainers have pointed out that they're pushing the PCR numbers up to 47 so everyone is getting these, supposedly has the disease, and nobody does.
Yeah, and a reminder, people, we've kind of forgotten cases does not mean people are infected, falling down dead in the street. They're not on their way to the ICU. It's probably overly concerned people who are getting over-tested. And whatever else is going on with this PCR polymer chain reaction, which was never intended to diagnose anything, according to its inventor, Kary Mullis, who unfortunately died just before this all happened. Whoops. The money bonanza is cool. You'll recall 2 shows ago I'll just play a little bit of this clip of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Chuck Schumer in New York City.
And so I'm very excited to say that that today is the day. The hotline is open, and because that hotline is open, you can call into FEMA and you can start this process today. Now, we know here in New York how tough those early days were.
All right. So the idea is if a family member died, you can go to the hospital, have the death certificate changed to add COVID because we got money for you. And I am looking here at TWUlocal100.org for the Transport Workers Union of New York, who have negotiated a significant precedent-setting COVID-19 death benefit. So if you go get it changed, here's what you get. $500,000 in payments to families of members who contracted the virus and died.
It's a bonanza.
Proof of vaccination or a valid documented exception will be required for eligibility. So you want $500,000? Take the jab, take the poke, take the shot. Maybe, and it's not lump sum, so maybe they hope these people then die from this thing as well, from the vaccine, and then they don't have to pay them. I mean, it's
out of control.
It's fantastic, though. It's beautiful. Let me see, what else did I have that was fun? So
I have the one last clip. You can play while you're looking for yours, which is Covis Biden comments.
It's great progress, but if we let up now and stop being vigilant, this virus will erase the progress we've already achieved, the sacrifices we've made, the lives that have been put on hold, the loved ones who've been taken from us, the time we're never going to get back. To celebrate our independence from this virus on July 4th, with family and friends in small groups, we still have more to do in the months of May and June.
Yeah, President Joe is going to cancel July 4th. It's actually going to go from July 3rd to July 5th. And he's going to cancel the whole day because we're not doing our patriotic duty. Hey, blow me, Bo Jiden. Ugh. Almost as bad as the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda. Very, very unfortunate.
Let's make something clear. Nobody, as bad as Bo Jiden is, nobody in the world is as bad as this woman.
And she is so good at showing us how bad she really is with a smile on her face and just waltzes through every scientific untruth that you can. As a worker, a border worker, someone who works on the border of 2 different sections of Australia, who cleans airplanes, contracted COVID.
Yes, all of the signs here pointing very much to the fact that this was a border worker who did work in an environment where they were coming into contact with the planes that are used to transport people from red zones, so from high-risk countries. So this is an individual who boards planes to clean them after they've come from places where there is COVID, carrying passengers with COVID. So a very clear link at this stage to cases that are high risk.
Yes, but?
Well, I can confirm that this was someone who was vaccinated and fully vaccinated quite early on.
I love how she's proud of it. Well, yes, she got COVID, but I can confirm she was vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Great job.
I can confirm that this was someone who was vaccinated and fully vaccinated quite early on in the campaign. This is also someone who is part of routine testing. So they were last tested on the 12th and then the 19th. So regular testing, and it was their most recent test in which this case has been picked up. So you can see those protocols there working as we would intend. And look, when when we opened on both sides, we of course knew that we would continue to have cases connected to our border. In fact, when we announced the date for opening the Trans-Tasman bubble, Queensland was dealing with cases linked to its border. So we accept that's going to be part of our journey together. I think Australia accepts that. And for both sides, we're always looking for clear connection to the border. In this case, there is.
So it's like, it's the border, it's from the red zones, infected people. But just, oh yeah, but she was fully vaccinated. Hello. When will we get past this and open
it's
our
unbelievable.
eyes?
It's just out of control.
And say,
and
hey.
by the way, I'm going to start using her pronunciation of Australia.
Okay, and I'm going to use testing. Is there any chance that the tests are just no good? That she only tested positive and that the test, she's not sick and falling down? That she just tested positive because there's routine testing? Maybe. I don't know. News media, thanks for not telling us. Let's give it one more shot on the poke. And Fauci trying to get everyone to take the poke and doing that with Dana Bash. What's going to happen when we get the poke? What are the restrictions? What's going on? Dr. Fauci, help us.
But I do want to ask about the coronavirus restrictions still in effect, even for fully vaccinated Americans.
This is a good question.
Some vaccinated Americans may want to travel, eat indoors at restaurants, feel like they don't need to wear masks outdoors around others. You've been touting how effective the vaccine is. So what is the scientific reason that it isn't safe for vaccinated Americans to do those things?
You know, the issue is it depends on what you mean by safe and its relative risk. So let me explain.
No. Her question was about scientific reasons. It
isn't safe for vaccinated Americans to do those things.
You know, the issue is it depends on what you mean by safe and its relative risk. So let me explain, Dana. The first thing you got to realize that when you get vaccinated, your risk of getting infected dramatically diminishes and is very low. So then the obvious question is, why are there any restrictions? They're all because in a certain situation, one can get vaccinated, have no clinical disease at all, but get infected and not even know it, and have replication of virus in your nasopharynx and inadvertently transmit it to somebody else who might actually be unvaccinated and get ill. That's the reason why you want to wear a mask there. The other reason for wearing a mask is that there are variants that are circulating, and although they're unusual, we are seeing breakthrough infections, but we're also seeing variants that are a bit disturbing. Fortunately for us, the 117, which is the variant that was originating in the UK, our vaccines are very effective against them. So when people say, well, why can't I go? You can travel. Your risk is really very low. What the CDC is saying is that it depends on what your level of risk that you want to take. The one thing you want to do is be careful that you don't inadvertently infect someone else, or that given the fact that we have 60 to 70,000 new infections in the community, that is a precarious situation. That's the point. So we don't want people to think that you don't dramatically diminish your risk when you get vaccinated. You absolutely do. The risk is very low. And people will make decisions about what they want to do, and it will be a relative risk. What risk am I willing to take?
Again, now all of a sudden, it's very effective against the B117 variant. I don't understand why he says that. That's not in the marketing plan. The whole idea is for the variants to be the problem, and that's what this professor of public health of Edinburgh University says.
It kind of feels like we're trying to clean up the mess under a leaky faucet. I mean, right now we have a very unscientific red list approach to what countries you have to do managed quarantine and which ones you don't. So in Scotland, all countries are required to do managed quarantine because we don't know where the next variant is coming from. And also India, for example, it has the highest cases now in the world. It is not on the red list. So I think right now we need to look at three things going forward. The first is, border restrictions to protect our domestic scientific progress, keep the economy moving forward, keep schools open. The second thing is vaccinating the world, getting vaccines out to people in all parts, not just in Britain. But this pandemic isn't over till we actually solve it everywhere. And the third is the scientific progress on a universal coronavirus vaccine. So a vaccine that can deal with all the variants, as well as potentially different strains, which could be considerably different. This is going to be the year of the variant. And as more and more variants emerge, it's a bit like Pokemon. We just got to catch them all and have a vaccine that can do that.
It's like Pokemon. We just got to catch them all. So it's going to be the year of the variants. I think she's right, and I think she's jumping ahead of. She shouldn't be.
Oh yeah, she's jumping ahead of the script.
Yep. Although Dr. Fauci says we've got that pesky B117, we've got that one licked. Let's talk about variants. What are they exactly? Dr. Drew still does his podcast. He seems like a pretty straight shooter. When he's wrong, he admits it. He's definitely not politically motivated, I don't think, in his analyses. And he had Dr. Kelly Victory on the show, who sounds like a Republican superhero, but she is a doctor, and she discussed the variants or mutations.
First of all viruses mutate. That's a fact of life. The great news is when they mutate, they become weaker, less virulent.
Usually.
In the history of mankind, I defy anyone. This is one of the things that's really bothered me about the lay press, the mainstream media, and even those people at the helm who talk about these, quote, dangerous variants. Variants will become more contagious. It's a survival mechanism for the virus. As it mutates, it becomes more contagious and less severe. That's how the virus continues to stay alive or to stay in existence, because it doesn't behoove not that I'm personifying a virus, if it could think, it doesn't behoove the virus to kill a larger and larger percentage of hosts, because it will end up becoming extinct. So viruses all mutate, but they become weaker as they do. We have no reason to believe that any of these viruses will escape the vaccinations, or frankly the other treatments like hydroxychloroquine,
or the immune or your immune response,
or your immune system. If you look at
so that sounds right, and it sounds like a perfect setup for more PCR test.
Yeah, that's where you crank the numbers up like you're doing in Canada. But let's mention something that we mentioned a year ago, which is the original thesis that the Nobel Prize winning in medicine French doctor said.
Yes.
That this virus was created in the lab, and he saw how it was created and why it might have been created. And he said, don't worry about it, because it will mutate and slowly revert back to what it is possibly originally, a common cold. And that's what it seems to be doing. It seems to be mutating. It seems to be reverting back to the base level of a coronavirus is the common cold. That is the commonest of all the coronaviruses, and except the ones you find in bats. And That's what I'm seeing. I just said you can look at the charts. Oh, the cases are way up and the deaths are way down, because very few people die of a common cold.
We also never heard from that French doctor again, ever. He's gone, wiped from the face of the earth. Dr. Kelly did touch on that subject.
This virus had emanated from a wet market in China. That story, I actually thought that was plausible. Frankly, having spent a lot of time in those wet markets myself in China and seeing what goes on there, as soon as we had access to the actual genomic information about the virus, it became very, very clear to me that was not the case, that this was a lab-modified virus. I make no, I won't say whether or not, how it got out, whether that was purposeful or not. I have no idea if it was a lab error, just abject incompetence, or something in between. But I have no question that this was a lab-modified virus. It was not naturally occurring.
All right. She might be going to visit the French doctor soon.
She's done. Get her out. Shut her up by any means possible.
What I love about Big Pharma and their total paid-for stooges through advertising, in the mainstream media, and of course the biosecurity state and everything that goes along with it, is when they kind of get caught and called out on something that was just so ridiculous, that was being called ridiculous from day one, namely, you can get COVID from surfaces. They don't do big reports saying, good news, everybody. You can't get from surfaces. So this is good. This is very positive. We learned something. Hey, we made a mistake. No. Instead, you give it to the joke writers at the biggest stooge of all at CBS, the CIA broadcast system, Stephen Colbert. And this is how you handle it.
There's more new big COVID news. You can stop Cloroxing your groceries. Because yesterday in a phone call, the CDC acknowledged what scientists have known for months. The risk of contracting the virus from touching a contaminated surface is less than 1 in 10,000. In unrelated news, anyone looking to buy a box of wipes? I traded a kidney for these last April.
And that's his CIA producer who wrote the joke. Good done, Steve.
Yes.
That's how they do it. Oh, let's just make a joke out of it. No apologies, just joke.
Yeah. Well, that's gross. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to do before we.
I don't think so. I'm looking at.
We've had it. I mean, there's so much stuff that's just there, but it's kind of repetitive at this point. But and just so people understand, that's what the media is giving us. We're only deconstructing what's there. There's just not much else they talk about.
No. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good too. Are you good? I'm good. Everybody, we're good.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And indeed, we do have a few people to thank for show 1340. We're on our way.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Lindsay, is it Jarrett? $100. David Wallman in Fenton, Missouri, $100. Ian Field in Eastleigh, Hampshire, UK, $100. Samantha Foggen. Are these made up names? Foggen?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Probably Roganites, man. I don't know. Foggen.
F-O-G-G-O-N is her name. She's in Beauty Point, Tasmania.
Oh, where they do lots of near the Tiest? No, that's yeah.
She's got a call to her smoking hot husband.
Nice.
3x33.
Nice.
Oh, that's what the donation is. Okay.
Yeah.
Justin, and that was $99. Justin Rawlings in Wichita Falls, Texas, 88. Sir Patrick Cobles hanging in there, Duke of the South, 88.
And he's sending some lucky 8s for Dame Sarah's birthday celebration. And he says, "You're my best friend, and I love you bunches." Oh.
Huh. Thought we did that last show. Eric Schmidt in Frankfurt, Deutschland, 5150. John Meyer in Norco. Norco, I don't know where that is.
Northern Colorado?
No, it's Norco.
No, I don't know
Name of
Norco.
a town in California, it says here. 51. Sir Perfluous. The Octoroon in Norfolk, Virginia, 51. Lisa Piles, 51. Andrew, these are the $51 gimmick donations, and we got 1, 2, for 6.
These were gimmicks?
And Andrew Giannettino, anyway, he's in the U.S. somewhere, 51. Christina Henry in Mishawaka, Indiana, 51. Catherine Richardson, 51, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Forrest Martin, 5005. And now the following, this is a short list, by the way, I want to mention.
Okay, hold on one second. So those were the special Earth Day donations?
Yeah. 1, 2,
proving
3,
my point once again, no one cares about the Earth.
No, they don't. They hate it.
Yeah.
6 donations in total for the Earth Day.
Screw you,
Earth Day special.
Screw you, Earth.
Now they got $50 donors again. Just name and location. Julian Robbins in Aptos. Matthew Grice. Adrian Mueller in Atascadero. Rodney Lillibridge in Lewiston, Idaho. Daniel LeBoy in Bath. He's Sir Daniel LeBoy in Bath, Michigan. Sir Andrew Gusick in Greensboro, North Carolina. Lucas Deaton in Dayton. Ooh, Lucas Deaton in Dayton.
Deaton in Dayton.
Kevin Silverman in Severn, Maryland. Jason Wright in Fort St. John, BC. Robert Case in Mill Springs, North Carolina. Keen Davidson in Brentwood, Tennessee. Douglas Fabrizio, parts unknown. Patrick Maycomb, Sir Patrick Maycomb in New York City. And last but not least, Maria Cameron in Okotoks, Alberta. Okotoks. It's somewhere east of Spuzum, so it's in there somewhere. I want to thank these folks for making this show possible. Short list, we might do better the next time, but it was Earth Day, and you expected a shortfall.
Hey, you bet with the Earth, you lose. What can I say? Never bet on the Earth. She'll eat you right up. Thank you, producers. Thank you profusely for supporting the best podcast in the universe. You are producers, so you're doing your job and doing it to the best of your ability, because that's really all it is. Time, talent, treasure. If you make a donation, just make it meaningful to you. And we have lots of people who do that under $50. Many are on the subscriptions, which we have on our donation page, where you can be contributing a weekly or a monthly or even a per show amount, which can be much smaller. It's a great base for us. We really appreciate that. To find out more, go here. Dvorak.org/NA. Let's give everybody a jobs karma just in case.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Love me some birthdays on a Thursday. Philip Cheerhart says happy birthday to his friend Chris P. Michael Parham, it was his birthday on the 20th. Will Sadler, happy birthday to his exquisite keeper Jill. She turns 33 and she is executive producer for today, so it's executive producer. Samantha Foggen, happy birthday to her smoking hot husband Peter from Tasmania, turns 54. Sir Patrick Coble says happy birthday, loves you bunches, Dame Sarah. And Rodney Littlebridge, happy birthday Kelly H., whose birthday is on April 24th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. It's your birthday, yeah. We have one lone knighting today, but he's already been addressed by his knight name, so it is a seat sitter, and I suggest we get a single blade out for him. Well, we'll use two.
I got the seat blade special for him. There you go.
Oh, very nice. Sir, seat sitter. Come on up to the podium, seat sitter. You are joining a very exclusive club. The club is of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. They get here by supporting the show in the amount of $1,000 cumulative over any time you want. We're very, very appreciative of the support you have shown, and I am very proud to pronounce the Sir Seat Sitter, Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable for you by your very own request. Poopities and scoopities, and we'll throw in some wifus and waffles, trophies and tire smoke, kebab and Persian wine, harlots and haldol, geishas and sake, vodka and vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, ginger ale and gerbils, sparkling cider and escorts. And I know what you really want. It's the mutton meat. Everyone comes here for the mutton and meat. That is on it. Well, it's actually right in front of you. And if you go to noagendanation.com/rings, Eric the Shill will make sure that you get your coveted night ring along with your sealing wax and the official certification that it's all on the up and up. And thank you again for supporting the No Agenda Show.
No Agenda Meetups.
That's right, the No Agenda Meetups where everybody gets together, hangs out, no triggering. You're all from Gitmo Nation. You're all going to be a little bit different, but you're going to love meeting children from other lands, and it's running rampant. There's so many meetups scheduled. It's so nice to see that people are finally getting out, hanging out with each other, meeting, discussing, having a good time. Who knows what you're doing, but you're doing it, and it's just beautiful to see. We have a meetup report from the 3 Mile Island meetup. Which is, of course, where people get radiated.
Hey, John and Adam. Apparently, if you have high enough levels of background radiation, it kills off all the viruses. So, here on the banks of the Susquehanna River, we don't have to wear masks because it's science. Hey, look who's here.
Mrs. Sir 737 here.
Josh.
Tara.
Hey, this is Sunny from Sunny Says So, Maricopa, Arizona.
This is Jason.
Dan.
And Gwen.
Steve, and it's like a party.
Hey, this is Sir 737 from the No Agenda 3 Mile Island Evacuation Zone here at Crosswater. Great meetup. Thank you again for your courage.
Getting creative there, TMI. I like that. Very nice. Here's what's coming up. Meetup-wise, we even have one today. If you are in the Denver area, it's the Denver Area Creatively Titled Meetup, 6:30 today at the Water's Edge Winery and Bistro. Tomorrow, Smiles Welcome at the Jacksonville, Florida Bottlenose Brewery at 6 o'clock. Also on Friday, Oregon's Local 33 Spring Meetup at 5:30 at Willamette Park in West Lynn, Oregon. On Saturday, the Houston Fourth Wave Double Mutant Raging Surge Super Spreader Luncheon. That'll be at noon at the Rodeo Goat. Why not? Chicago Stranger Than Fiction, 1 o'clock at Reggie's. That's on Saturday. Also on Saturday, the Melbourne Monthly Meetup, 2 o'clock Aussie Eastern Time, Fancy Hank's Barbecue Restaurant. And the No Agenda Meetup in the Smokies at 3 o'clock. That'll be on Saturday at Currahee Brewery in Franklin, North Carolina. Local 406 Bozeman Meetup at the Tap Room. That is on Saturday. And I'll give you Sundays as well. Myrtle Beach Sanitary Salt Air Meetup, 3:33 p.m. at Grandstand Brewing, as well as Santa Fe Do-Gooders at 4:30 Mountain Time. Jeff Tohig, our night there, will be hosting that at Santa Fe Brewing. For more, go to noagendameetups.com. You can find a place near you where the Gitmo Nation slaves are meeting up. If not, why don't you start one yourself? It's easy. noagendameetups.com. It's like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
See, ISOs.
ISOs.
You got any ISOs?
I got a bunch.
Yo, you got some ISOs. Oh, we like it.
Okay, we got, let's try this one. This is no answers. This is IDO, but it's no answers.
I've not heard any good answers to these questions.
Mm-hmm. A little long, but yeah.
Mask up.
Ooh, that might be a good one. Let's see.
We all need to mask up.
Is that the president?
Yeah.
We all need to mask up.
That's pretty good.
That's a good one. Wrong.
Wrong.
It's just wrong.
I like mask up. Let me see. I still have the Judge Janine.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
But I also have...
Y'all need to go get your amygdalas fucking checked.
Too bad for the F-bomb, but I think it's pretty funny.
You know, I went to listen to that particular podcast. Somebody did recommend it. Yeah. Well, she gets enough. I think she gets enough ISOs from our show. But that one is a gem.
We can call a moratorium on her after this one. It's what we do.
No, I like to go to her still once in a while. I kind of like it. The thing is, isn't she profane in there, which is not unusual for her.
Yeah.
Play that one again.
Y'all need to go get your amygdalas fucking checked.
It's pretty good. But I mean...
I said the problem I have with it is that there's no reason for her to use the word fucking.
I know, I agree. It's just we've now played it twice, so will a third time hurt? Or, I mean, we can do mask up if you feel better about it.
Play mask up one more time.
Okay, hold on. Oops, that was the wrong one. Where's my... Here we go. Mask up.
We all need to mask up.
Now, I like it because he has a bit of a drawl.
We all need to mask up.
Or we could do a double shot.
We all need to mask up.
Y'all need to go get your amygdalas fucking checked.
I don't know. Your call. I'm fine either way.
I'm going to keep her off the moratorium and use the Biden.
Okay, so she's off the moratorium, but we're using mask up. That's good. That's good.
I mean, by the way, I've been making a collection of these women. They all sound just like her.
Mm-hmm.
And all these different podcasts. There's probably hundreds of them.
Oh, yeah.
And they all have this need, like, early podcasters had the same problem, where they just need to cuss all the time.
Yeah. Howard Stern had that when he went on Sirius. It was a real problem. And they were so not used to saying it, and they were allowed to say F words and whatever they wanted, and just became unlistenable at a certain point. They had to stop themselves. It's kind of nutty.
But these women doing it is even more interesting to me because it's like they're free. And so they...
Well, she's a podcaster.
A podcaster. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah. Hey, something really spectacular happened in Australia as the federal government overrode or vetoed the Victoria Belt and Road Agreement with China.
Nice.
Which is not a small thing. I mean, that agreement, it includes Huawei and just all kinds of
Victoria
deals.
was completely, they might as well separate themselves from the whole country. They were being run by the Chinese.
Correct. And you go on to the next question, the next round. So here's a quick news story about it as the Chinese are obviously threatening.
Look, I think the government shouldn't have signed those originally. I don't think they added value to the state, despite claims there was no evidence to back it up. And I think that the government has done the right thing. I'd made the point that this was legislation that was passed with bipartisan support. Albo was right behind this. He said he would never have signed such an agreement.
The move is expected to further escalate tensions between Canberra and Beijing. The Foreign Minister Maurice Payne also cancelled 2 education deals, one struck with Iran in 2004 and another with Syria in 1999. The Chinese embassy in Australia has branded the decision as unreasonable and provocative. It's released a statement saying it further shows that the Australian government has no sincerity in improving China-Australia relations. That's what the embassy said. It is bound to bring further damage to bilateral relations and will only end up hurting itself.
Ooh.
It sounds like a threat.
A veiled threat for sure. Yeah, it's going to hurt you. Well, they can always just close the gates around to Victoria. They've got everything boarded off anyway. Now, you wrote another Substack, which are just so good. So I'll play this news story and then you can respond or not.
This morning, investigators looking for answers into what caused this fiery crash near Houston.
The calling party advised that they did hear a boom and now they see a fire in the woods, approximately 20 to 30 feet tall.
Video capturing what's left of a Tesla Model S after it slammed into a tree, killing the 2 men inside. The car's lithium-ion battery reigniting over and over again. Firefighters battling the flames for more than 4 hours, using 30,000 gallons of water before the fire put itself out.
So a couple things about the story. The first one is that Elon Musk denied that the car was on autopilot self-drive mode, which never gives anyone any pause about how much they know about you and your driving. And do you really trust one company with your car to be tracking you and everything you're doing, every input, every control, every button, everything is logged and tracked?
Yeah, and none of that, but apparently in real time.
Yes.
So there's some guy, look at this guy, he's on autopilot. Let's ram him into a tree. It seems to me you could do that. You could ram a person into a tree.
Right. Now, I don't think this happened. This is just proof.
No, I don't think it happened either, but I think it could. No, the column I wrote was about, I think I've had mixed feelings about self-driving cars since the beginning, and I liked the idea at first, and then I now don't like it so much. And one of the reasons I put in this column was that they have never gotten optical character recognition, handwriting recognition, or voice recognition correct. It's always off by, there's always something wrong. It's like it maybe gets a 99% correct, but the 1% is a lot.
Yeah.
So when you look at a document that you've OCR'd and you look in there and there's a bunch of 1%, which is 1% is a lot. That means for every 100 words, there's a blatant error. So you're just this is horrible mistakes. You can't do that with self-driving cars, which is a similar kind of technology where it has to look at the road.
It's 98% effective, just like the COVID vaccine.
It's just seems like they're never going to get to, because they can't. You can't, in certain software situations, anyone does software knows this, at some point you can never, that's why you have to do bug fixes all the time. you can't get to the point of 100%. Like the last 1% takes 99% of the time. They say stuff like that. And so I think these cars are always going to be dangerous.
Yeah, it'll just...
Well, wait a minute, John. Humans are very good at driving. And the machine will do better.
Hey, who's this guy? He's new. I like him.
The guy.
I like that guy. That's the self-driving car guy.
I'll be back, man.
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm with you. I don't think this is going to work. We've seen too much tinkering going on. And the ultimate problem will be, who do we kill, the driver or the pedestrian? That's always the dilemma. Like, so where are the decisions going to be made for that? Let's say they get it to 100%. You're still going to have to deal with flawed humans, and then someone crosses, but there's only two choices, and that could be calculated in a split second. Which path do we go down? Kill the occupant, kill the pedestrian.
Yeah, you'd kill the pedestrian. You want to save the occupant. He's a customer. Just that simple.
Hey, I got some feedback from Professor JJ, who's in Beijing, on two things we discussed regarding China, just to roll back to that. There are, to date, in nowhere in China, but certainly not in Beijing, vaccine passports. People show a green code on their phone, or you can attest that you have not been around anyone who is sick. He says we can fly within China without getting a vaccine or presenting the results of a screening for antibodies or virus or any type of swab. That's interesting. And two, and this is the one that is most important, all money in China is electronic. Cash is pretty much gone. Today, a homeless guy asked me for money when I told him in Mandarin that I only had a phone. The homeless guy pulled out a laminated card with the QR code. That's been the dream. That's the dream.
Well, the Chinese have managed to solve that issue.
Yeah, so cash is gone. And once the government manages your cash, then it's kind of end of story.
Take over. Take your money away.
And that's why it is still interesting, although you don't believe it. It's never going to happen. It would be crazy. The Federal Reserve Chairman Powell confirmed once again that the United States is working on a digital dollar. They are working very hard. It's incredibly important. They may not be the first to the party, but they are doing it.
Actors to create their own kind of digital quasi-money type of instruments. So there are significant both technical and policy questions to do with how we would go about doing that. I would say that we're committed to solving the technology problems and to consulting very broadly with the public and very transparently with all interested constituencies as to whether we should do this. I would also say we are the world's reserve currency, and we have a responsibility to get this right. We don't need to be the first. We need to get it right, and so but this is something we're investing time and labor in right across the Federal Reserve System. You may know that the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston has a partnership with MIT looking at one particular thing. We're doing research here at the board. It does hold out the prospect of the things that you mentioned, very positive. It could help with financial inclusion as well. At the same time, you want to avoid creating things that might be destabilizing or that might draw funds away from the banking system. We have a banking system which intermediates between savers and borrowers. We want to be careful about what the implications are of what we do. So a very high priority project for us.
Look, they've seen China. It's great. Give everybody digital money. We control them. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, China's more into that than we are.
Okay. Well, I just can't deny the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board saying that this is a project.
He can say what he wants. It's fine. We're going to resist. For one thing, we're a country that uses a lot, probably more than any place else in the world, a lot of illegal substances. And I would say cocaine would be the number one on that list. And there's no way they're going to go to a digital currency overall without a lot of cash, because these guys will be out of business, the guys who do the buying and selling, both of them. And the buyers don't like the idea of being tracked, and the sellers don't like the idea of being tracked. And they all, kind of funnel the money probably through a lot of casinos and other money laundering operations. You can't launder money that's going to be done the way. I mean, it does solve a lot of problems in terms of crime and all these other things. And I'm sure the Chinese are taking advantage of it. But I don't think our people are going to, we're not going to, it can happen maybe 50 years from now, but I think it'd be at least that long.
All right, allow me to respond. One, my drug dealer, although I do not purchase cocaine, and I don't know if he even deals in that, he takes Venmo. So I do have a phone specifically just for Venmo. So there seems to be no hesitancy in that regard from the drug dealers. And I find it hard to believe that you say we are going to resist when at the same time you say that people are so stupid they're all lining up to get the vaccine and will not stop. You can't have stupid people one way or the other. You either have stupid people or you don't have stupid people. And I think that this will be marketed. There's going to be no resistance. There's going to be no resistance. People think it's great, especially when they start getting the universal basic income right there in their little digital dollar wallet, because that's how you hook them in.
It makes sense that the universal basic income, which is also a ways away, would be a good hook. I'm not going to argue that.
Well, California is already starting with $1,000 a month for the poor.
Yeah, for the not only just the poor, but only certain races. White's not welcome.
Right. That's right. Blacks, single mothers, I think, is the first group. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so and you know what? That's where the resistance is going to come from. No, I fear for this. That is the ultimate. And by the way, back to Apple. Holy crap. Do these guys want to be your bank so bad they're willing to enslave your children into this credit card business of theirs?
Unbelievable.
What the heck is that? So you can put a 13-year-old on your credit card and then they can build up credit, which, by the way, is not going to be official credit from the credit bureau. It's going to be the Apple credit, like Credit Karma.
Yeah, fake
credit. My mind was boggled by that. I don't expect to hear anyone else about it, but damn.
We talked about it on the Horowitz show.
Yeah, and I bet your mind must have been boggled.
We both found it to be abhorrent.
Yeah. I don't understand how they can even do that. How can you can't even get a Facebook page until you're 16.
Yeah, and children they can't sign contracts. Especially 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
You can't go buy a car. So, I don't know.
Mm.
So it looks like we're going to, as we wrap this show today.
Yes.
I have one last clip. And we are going to put off the second half of the show, I guess, which was everyone was looking forward to you and the Theremin. But
you know what? You want me to do it? I completely forgot.
No. I want to do it on Sunday because we're going to have to talk about the dead cows.
Okay, hold on. All right.
You blew something out. It stopped.
Yeah, I stopped it. Dead cows. All right. So,
yeah, apparently I said it the second time.
No, you can't talk about it. We'll talk about it on Sunday show.
Okay. Well,
dead cows and UFOs.
My face says we didn't talk about climate change today. I do have one climate change clip. Even though it's Earth Day, I do have an Earth Day report that I didn't play. Actually, it's only a minute. Can I play two clips here?
You can do whatever you want, John, as long as I don't do
Earth Day report on CBS, and I want to ask you a question at the end of this clip. I'll ask you in advance. What does this report have to do with Earth Day?
Earth Day is next Thursday, but starting tonight, CBS News will be reporting on how climate change is affecting us all and putting our planet in peril. Our Eye on Earth series will appear on all CBS broadcasts and platforms. Ooh. We begin with Lilia Luciano and a breaking point in a California beach battle.
Nestled along California's central coast is Oceano Dunes, 8 miles of beautiful beach, but this scenic stretch of sand has gone from playground to battleground. More than 1 million off-roaders a year visit the only state park in California where vehicles can drive on the beach, pitting recreation against conservation.
Why is it important to be able to bring vehicles onto the sand?
It's a magical, unique experience. The amount of traffic, the noise pollution, the destruction, it's too much.
Battle lines drawn in the sand by off-roaders, the town of Oceano, 2 state agencies, and conservationists fighting to protect endangered species, including the western snowy plover and California's least tern.
Now, what does this have to do with climate change or Earth Day?
Well, Earth Day was never about climate change. That's what's bothering me. And if you look at the Wikipedia entry, it still says Earth Day is a day that is supposed to inspire more awareness and appreciation for the Earth's natural environment. It takes place each year on April 22nd and now takes place in more than 193 countries around the world. During Earth Day, the world encourages everyone to turn off all unwanted lights. That's it. That's it. It was never about climate change. It was never about riding vehicles on the beach and killing some stupid animals. This has been Earth Day. The Earth has been hijacked.
Yeah. Been co-opted, as we like to use that term.
That's the term. Co-opted.
Now, okay, so now here's one. Here's an interesting co-option. This is now climate change has become a political football based on racism. We saw this coming.
Yeah, of course.
Here we go with Sandy Cortez. AOC is going to bring in her idiotic climate change comments.
The climate crisis is a crisis born of injustice, and it is a crisis born of the pursuit of profit at any and all human and ecological cost.
That's right.
Which means that we must recognize in legislation that the trampling of indigenous rights is a cause of climate change. The trampling of racial justice is a cause of climate change, because we are allowing people and we are allowing ourselves to make sure we are allowing folks to deny ourselves human rights and deny people the right to health care, the right to housing and education.
That's right. All in it. 37 seconds. I think she got it all in there. She didn't get anything.
It was a gem.
Yeah, she didn't get any misogyny in there, but I'll take it. Very good. Re-elect AOC. Chip, make her senator.
Oh, that's got to happen.
Yeah, I hope. We need the material. Hey, everybody. That is your deconstruction for today. We will return and do it all over again on Sunday, except with new stuff from the media. They never disappoint. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. But it does depend on you producing the show. We need your time, your talent, your treasure, your brain power, your input, your expertise. You know how to get a hold of us. And coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33, while we're still here in the capital of the drone star state, Austin, Texas, FEMA region number 6 in all governmental maps. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I remain, I'm John C. Dvorak.
And coming up, end of show, we've got Jesse Coy Nelson, Tom Starkweather, and a classic Rulfie. After this show on No Agenda, Stream.com, we have Sir Gene Speaks with an exclusive interview with Tina Curry, the Keeper. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until Sunday, adios, mofos! And such.
This is a bunch of scumbags. 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 Reclaiming my time. What he failed to tell you was when you're on my time, I can reclaim it. He left that out, so I'm reclaiming my time. Please. You need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters ending the tense exchange, telling Republican Jim Jordan to shut his mouth.
I hope that we're going to get a verdict that is saying guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't, we cannot go away. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business. This is a bunch of scumbags. Scumbags. Scumbags.
And this is not the first time Maxine Waters did this. She's been doing this since the LA riots, the early 90s.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. I will go and take Trump out tonight. Nobody believes that a 79-year-old grandmother who is a congresswoman and who has been in Congress and in politics for all of these years is talking about doing any harm.
Wow. You need to shut your mouth. Man, that's out there, Max.
I'm glad she's there because she's nuts.
This is a bunch of scumbags. Scumbags. Scumbags.
One case, then 2, 3, 4, and then when they got to 6, they say we really need to pause.
It almost defeats the incentive to get the vaccination. It shouldn't, but it can. Why does a vaccinated person have to wear a mask?
You know, when you're in the middle of a hot spot, the best thing to do is to try and contain it.
This is an interesting one. If you're vaccinated, is it safe to start getting manicures and pedicures at indoor salons?
Because we have 2 pandemics going on right now. There's a pandemic of ignorance in this country, and that is only allowed to fly because we also have a pandemic of cowardice in this country.
Is that an effective way to beat back a hotspot?
We leave it to the science.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sex it up. 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 Ooh.
Yeah.
Hi, boys. If you're lonely tonight, just give me a call at 1-900. I am a whore.
Oh, my gosh. Did you see that juice?
No sweat off my balls is the old saying. You take hook, line, and sinker by this bullshit. Yeah, you can't come in unless you're shot up. Yeah, you can't come in unless you're shot up. Yeah, you can't come in unless you're shot up.
So good.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, do you remember Adam Curry from MTV?
The guy with the hair?
Yeah. He's nuts. I'm the last person they see before they die. That's right, look at me. I'm the angel of death.
I know. Keep it up. Wow.
This show, man.
This show is the best show in the universe. There's no doubt about it.
It truly is.
You've been in enough meetings. Say, squeeze me.
It smells like weed.
Because it was festering, and now it's popped.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of pathetic.
Various numbers. That
you are loved. You are loved. Take that in.
I'm loved.
Take it in.
Take a hook, line, and sinker by this bullshit. Take a hook, line, and sinker by this bullshit. Take a hook, line, and sinker by this bullshit. I have but one.
Just
throw it in the air and yay, let's catch it on fire. Who cares?
Yeah, we'll just make it rain.
69.
Puzzle enough, everybody. So it's not a very efficient system. It doesn't seem to.
Sounds like a crock of crap to me.
Yeah, it's kind of hot here. I'm battling the
That 21-year-old pimp. That 21-year-old pimp.
Transphobe, homophobe, blackphobe, redphobe, yellowphobe, phobe.
We're also
transphobe, homophobe, blackphobe, redphobe, yellowphobe, phobe. Transphobe, homophobe, blackphobe, redphobe, yellowphobe, phobe.
We're also
transphobe, homophobe, blackphobe, redphobe, yellowphobe, phobe.
Touch it. Touch it. Touch it. The beach. Woo-hoo. The beach. Woo-hoo. Touch it.
Doubtful.
This is voodoo.
The only thing you can count on that is not influenced by Chinese money is the No Agenda Show.
I mean, it's almost like a test. Nutsap is what it is. Drop it. We're done.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org.
NA.
We all need to mask up.